just a print off of everything, the packet, my schedule, and what you put down as your schedule, and yeah, I think this is the one that I sent out after the last meeting, so yeah, I haven't updated it since then, so I hope I got everything that we covered.
You know, you can go touch base on that too, I guess.
Sure.
Me get us.
Good to go.
Appreciate everybody coming here tonight. I mean, so much. I'm open for how this goes, but my main thing is to hash out the steps, the timelines, to make sure we don't miss anything, the details. Tim's got information in his head. We need that information to be successful, and all working together just to make sure we got everything covered, because there's a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and I'm growing to learn and understand about football, and it's unique from a lot of the other sports that I deal with, and it's, you know, we want to maintain. I believe we want to maintain kind of what we're doing to give the kids the same experience that they should have it. So that means details matter, and the timeline. Hopefully, we're not too far behind at this point in time, but we might have some work to catch up on. So I just want to make sure we're not missing anything. So I guess as we did before, I can just do a quick word of prayer just to kick us off. Father, we thank you for all these individuals. We thank you for the ability to serve, Father, to really provide an experience for the kids and for the families, and we're blessed to be a part of that. And Father, we pray that we have clarity and direction here tonight, and we get things accomplished for your glory, honor, and praise. And Father, we're thankful for each one of these people that are here participating, and Father, we're thankful for everything you do in our life, and pray this all through your most holy name and all through Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
Amen.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So, Tim, the things that you have in your head, are they things that are just additional information for the things on here, or are they things that we don't have on here at all?
All right. So there's a lot of things that you don't have on here at all.
Okay.
So whenever this was created, it was created in my absence. So before we get to that, there was another prior discussion that we had with James and Joe, and I need to find out first, has the boundaries for those been discussed with these two yet? And I don't know if you had that discussion with them on what we discussed there, and if you haven't, let's try to get that set now before we go into this and dive into this, because I need to make sure that the boundaries are known by everybody here, and we start 100% fresh, because I need to make sure we start it fresh, and this is the last time we sit down together and do this, because no kidding, we are wasting time, and I'm not going to waste any more time, because it just needs to get done.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you're talking specifically about the athletic director team and Clee's participation. Clee and I did have a conversation, and we're moving in a direction where this is going to be his final year of being on the athletic director team. The transition year, hopefully you can learn a lot, and then I'm going to work to see how you do, and then see where we go in the 2025 season, I guess is what we're going to call it, with maybe a addition for you for some help, or if we need a new team. Not saying that that's going to happen, but I mean, I think that this role is big enough where we need more than one person to do it.
Okay.
But and I'm kind of applying this. I'm not saying I'm using this as an experiment, but I'm looking at doing this like a team in basketball as well, and maybe some of the other sports, maybe even like volleyball.
Okay. So Clee has been notified of.
We had a conversation on Sunday.
Okay. So with the conversation that you guys had, and we're talking about having his transition to this, and that's what we need to find out is, one, I know that all the tasks that she has identified that are under her seem to be like 80% parent pride stuff and 20% actual AD stuff. Now, the tasks that he was responsible for, we're talking about solely his AD tasks, correct? That's going to be in this transitional phase. Is that what we're identifying?
I would say that's correct.
Okay.
I don't want to misunderstand what you're saying, though.
Okay, so I guess what we needed to identify then was, Clay, in the past several years, what were your AD duty tasks that you performed in the past several years then? Which involves scheduling. So if I was to go off of, let me pick out which sheet I want to go off of here. I can go off of this one here and say that you was involved with scheduling at least, and then coordinating with, or doing the helmets. So let's just say scheduling, helmets, and what else is added to that?
Okay,
That
that's
you-
the section you're talking about.
That you would pre-identify what your tasks were.
What's your point, Tim?
Transitioning your tasks.
What's the list show?
Well, that's instead is that you guys have hodgepodged a whole bunch of other tasks that are under yours. Like this current list here has a hodgepodge of tasks. So I'm asking you to pre-identify what your tasks have been for the past several years, so we can transition your tasks over to whoever the AD is going to be. So if you were to identify your tasks, what were your tasks that you performed in the past several years?
Well, I think that's irrelevant,
Why is it irrelevant for?
because what is irrelevant is what's going forward this year and moving on.
Okay, so explain that to me then. How was that irrelevant if you can't pre-identify what you were doing?
You really want to get into this?
I'm just asking you, what were the tasks that you can transfer over?
Look, I'm not going to get into an argument with you.
I'm not
Bottom
trying to
line
argue
is-
with you.
The bottom line is, we need to take care of this stuff we need to take care of,
Yes.
okay? And so I've got those listed out here.
Mm-hmm.
And if we need to add stuff for either my side or Devon's side, whatever, that's fine. We
Okay.
need to add it.
Listen, Clay, I'm not trying to argue with you whatsoever. All I'm asking for is what you were doing to pre-identify those tasks, so you have knowledge of what you were doing to transfer those tasks over. The tasks that I were doing, I pre-identify, and those are the tasks that I can transfer over. Because do you have knowledge of the tasks that I were doing, yes or no?
Well, I would think for the most part, but maybe not for everything.
Okay, then tell me about the equipment. How was the equipment being handled?
You were handing it out. I don't know what's your question. I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say is that in this format, what you guys have made, the equipment is under your identification. That's your roles and responsibilities.
Mhm.
But in the past several years, were you handling the equipment? Yes or no?
Well, I mean, I don't know what you mean by handling. Did I order shoulder pads? Yes, I ordered. Shoulder
Okay.
pads. Did you order?
So shoulder
did you
pads.
order girdles and stuff? Yes, you did.
Okay. So
But
schedule,
the point
helmets,
that I'm
shoulder
making
pads.
is, over the last several years,
Mm-hmm.
you or I did whatever needed to be done.
Okay.
You saw things first, so you took care of it. In a lot of instances.
Okay. And we're just trying to get tasks set up to transfer over that you know, and tasks that I know. There's things that you do that I don't know, such as scheduling, helmets, and you and I have knowledge on shoulder pads. I have zero knowledge on helmets. Zero knowledge. I don't know who your supplier is. I don't know how you get them. I don't know how you order them. I'm not involved with none of that process. Your scheduling, I'm involved in minimal in that process because I'm just not involved in that process. You don't see me on none of the emails. I don't know nothing about how that's done. So those are things that I can't transfer over because I have minimal knowledge on those things. You hold that, okay? There's things that I know that you don't know.
Right.
And those are things that I can transfer over. So what I'm asking is that in this hodgepodge of when you guys made this list up, you took everything that were AD responsibilities, yes, and you made up the list, okay? But there's a lot of things that I was handling that's on this list what I'm asking is for you to pre-identify what you were doing, and I will pre-identify what I was doing, and we will separately transfer that stuff over to whoever the new AD is. That's what I'm asking you.
Are you saying so, like, basically just, okay, going through the list of his things, so when you're just, so that we just can, are we just writing it down, is that what the point?
I'm trying to pre-identify
Yeah,
because
so basically go to Tim for,
because you grouped everything that both of us were doing.
right, because that was just a beginning working place, that was
Okay.
not an end stop, that
Okay.
was like, here's all the information that I can find,
Mm-hmm.
let's figure out where it goes.
Yeah.
That's all it was. It was
Okay.
not ever to be the end all.
Okay. So once again,
But right, so here we are.
what are we
So-
doing? What did you do versus what I did? Let's identify those so we can transfer over. This is not an argument. This is not to get upset. Let's just identify and get this done so we can get on with the season. That's all this is, man. That's all I'm trying to do.
I just don't understand what it matters.
Because I know nothing about scheduling. I know nothing about helmets. You do. So
I mean,
identify those things and let's get that stuff
scheduling-
transferred over.
Okay.
And let me identify my things and let's get
Look,
transferred
so
over.
here's my point. The
Okay.
reason I'm not being resistant.
Okay.
I'm just not seeing value. So what I'm saying is what I think needs to happen and should have been happening all along.
Yeah.
But we've been a dysfunctional family for a long time.
Okay.
And that is at the end of every season, the AD and the coach, whether it be you, me, Devon, whoever,
Yeah.
or the next 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, whatever it is,
Yeah.
has an end of year meeting. And we look, okay, what about the schedule? What do we want on that? Where do we want to head on that?
Yeah.
We've never had that.
Yeah.
We should have been doing that. There's so many of these things like that we should have been doing all along, and we never did.
Well, yes and no. We tried to have that in January. Every January, we tried to have that in the form of a parent pride meeting, which you had your reasons of not showing up for. And so we've tried to have meetings of doing that to reconcile and to close out the season and to get the new season going. But I'm done talking about that. Let's identify our tasks. Let's get them flipped out, and let's get this thing going, man.
What I would suggest is we look at this and say, okay, what does not belong on this list? What does not belong on this list? What are we missing that should be in here? And let's move forward that way. Whether you know it or I know, it's irrelevant. The point is, what needs to be on the list? That's the point. That's
Okay,
where
well,
we're trying to get.
Okay, Clay, tell me what needs to be on the list, then let's just do that. What needs to be on the list?
I mean, I'd like to see everything on the list,
Yeah.
honestly.
What needs to be on the
I mean,
list? Tell me.
Obviously, I'm missing equipment information. I know helmets, pads, girdles is one that I wasn't aware of. I mean, so,
Girdles, practice equipment, jerseys.
Yeah, there's very little specifics about those things because I didn't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
so all those details probably
Yeah.
matter.
I don't
you
have
know.
any
They
of
do.
that.
They do matter. And
For
so,
sure.
let me tell you what I have on my sheet, and this is my sheet. So, when he talks about those things, and
Talking
because
equipment.
he's not involved with those things, I am.
Okay,
So when I have equipment prep on my sheet, on equipment prep, I have the month that I establish my inventory. All right, I have the month that I establish it. I have my inventory, inspect miscellaneous parts. This includes the shoulder straps, laces, the helmet buckles, the chin straps, mouth guards, and accessories. All the accessories, the bits and pieces of everything that we have. All the training equipment, which is all the pads that we have, all the barrels that we use. That's all the training equipment that we have. Talking about the cones, we're talking about everything. From there, make notes for replacement orders. From there, now we have to inventory all the equipment. That includes the practice game pants, practicing the game pants, girdles, knee pads, belts, practice game jerseys. Make note for replacement orders. From there, order the jersey replacements in May to ensure and make and shipment by June. If mistakes are made, you have July to make corrections. And orders received in time for games in August. Do not be late on these orders because you will be paying for that later on. So place order in bulk for cheapest price. No mistakes, or you will be paying the higher prices. From there, you have to do the equipment cleaning. Usually complete in June. Shoulder pads will need to be washed and the paddings can be removed. Wash lock paddings together, same sizes to eliminate confusion. Suggest 6 to 8 pads to avoid machine wash, maxing out depending on the size of the washer. Rinse off plastic shells and dry. Replacing your straps that are stretched out and laces that are worn. Pads, pants and girdles will need to be washed and dried as normal. Jerseys will need to be washed and hung dry. If any small rips can be sewn, that repairs and save costs. Equipment orders will be dictated on estimated size of personnel plus 50% to accommodate any items for replacement during the season. Those are the specifics that I have for equipment preps, okay? So that's what I'm trying to figure out is that the things that you have versus what you know versus what I know, all right? We're just trying to get this stuff figured out, all right?
So my question, I guess, to you is that something that you feel like only you can do?
No, I'm trying to figure out who the new, okay, if Devon's going to be the AD, all right, and this is going to be your season to transition out, I'm trying to get you to transition your duties. Has doing all this been your duty?
No, it should have been.
Okay, it should have been, but it hasn't been.
Right.
So it's been my duties.
Wow.
So there's no way for me to take what I'm doing to give to you to transition over. That breaks the cycle. It's easier for me to transition my stuff over versus giving to you to transition. All you got to do is transition the stuff that you know, and the transition is over. The stuff that I know, I can transition that easy. Why have a middleman there?
So you want to hold on to doing?
I'm not holding it on to it. I'm
No,
transitioning
I
them
hear what you're
over.
saying. I hear what you're saying.
Why am I giving them to a middleman when I can just give them straight over to the person who needs to do it?
But
Who
I
is that
can't.
person?
But
To the AD. You're transitioning yourself out. You're phasing yourself out. If you're phasing yourself out, why am I giving them to you when you're phasing yourself out? Why don't I just give them straight to the person who's going to have them to begin with?
I don't know that you're giving it to Clee. We're just identifying what it
That's
is.
what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to identify the tasks. So you take your tasks that you did, pass them up. Here's my tasks. I'm passing them up. The funnel runs that direction. It doesn't run here to there. My funnel, your funnel, it runs to there. It's a simple process, man. I'm trying to make this as simple as
okay,
possible.
so are you saying so like the process should maybe look like if I'm eventually going to be doing it next year?
Whoever the AD is going to be, you're going to get my stuff.
Right.
All right.
So then this year, I need to know how to do that, but I also need someone to help me do that. Like, are you saying you would walk with me in doing that? Or you're saying you would show me how to do it and then
Yeah, if you want me to show you how to do it, I'll show you how to do it. But that's just it, is that you're going to have to figure out your own system. I have a system.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
And I'll show you my system, but
Right.
but you're going to have to figure out your own system.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that.
And so I'll show you, but that's just it, is that I have my own process and how I do things. And if you like my process, take it. If you don't, then come up with your own process.
Right.
But this is what I've been doing ever since I've been doing it.
Yeah, I totally.
And
get that. I
so,
understand what you're saying.
but I'm not going to show several people. I want to show one person to do it. You take it and do it. I'm not going to show you and then show her and show everybody. I'm going to show you once and get it done. So if you want to see it and get it done. I'm not going to sit here and waste more time in figuring it out. And if this is your transitionary time, transition your stuff up just like I'm transitioning my stuff up. And that's it. We're transitioning it up. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry.
No, that's not it. It's just a matter of what we're trying to do, or at least what I thought we were trying to do, was set this up for that next view of whatever the AD office looks like.
Okay. Then what is it going to look like? What's the overall picture of the office then? What is the setup for the overall picture? Maybe we need to have that in place first before we even start divvying things to something that may not even be there, if that's the case. I mean, what's the structure? What was your vision for all this?
I didn't have a vision for it.
I don't think that a single person can handle all of this effectively. So the vision is that or at least my thinking is that we're probably looking at a team of 2 people And if it gets too much, then we may have an associate or something like that, assistant sports director, athletic director, whatever you want to call it, to help out with some of those things too.
But I think the goal was to still have the parent pride do pretty much all the stuff they were doing.
That's what I
That's
what I figured.
But here, I'm cutting to the chase. Parent pride is like dropping out. We got people quitting the parent pride because they disagree with something, I guess.
Well, let me ask you this, Devon. Do you want to be in charge of parent pride, or do you want to be AD?
I don't understand why that's, because I've been a part of Parent Pride. I understand how Parent Pride works.
Yeah.
We get the meeting at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has the direction that we're going to go, and then people go in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just, like what I've been doing for the last several years, I follow up with all the people that are like, you good? You good? Okay, do you need anything? You don't need anything? That's great. Do you need anything? You do. What do you need? And so I try to help that if they need something. But typically, we have a bunch of really responsible people that do what they do well, and that's great. And I don't want to change that. That would be stupid to change that. So that's whatever it's called, all the volunteers, that's what it is. So just giving oversight to make sure that everything is good, and then being a part of the dreaming time when we get together and we talk about the coming year. I love that ability to hear everybody's different perspectives, because everybody brings everybody's looking at it a little bit differently. So I think that's super valuable. So I would imagine being a part of that, continuing to be a part of that, because that's valuable. And I'm a person of context. That gives me context to understand what everybody's thinking and going. And I'm a much better leader when I know what their thoughts are and what their visions are, and then we can kind of mush them together and go in the vision that we all need to go. So I don't see, I know it's confusing because I was Parent Pride, but I was also doing a lot of the extended AD stuff, and that's what I put on there, the things that I know how to do, that I put those on there. So I know that you might think that those were Parent Pride things. I don't see them as necessarily Parent Pride. I see them as that I was doing, helping, where I was asked to help with AD stuff.
Okay, what AD stuff were you doing that Clay asked you to help?
Well, all of the games. Everything that had to do with the games, home and away.
She was the game coordinator, basically.
Okay. Why did he ask you help for the game coordinations for?
I don't know. When I said, hey, I know that you're struggling. Would you like some help? How can I be of help to you? He said, let me think about it. And then he called me and said, hey, I've been thinking about it. I think this would be really helpful because I'm focusing on being a coach. Being the coach during the year is really difficult to do both and juggle them. And I said, I totally understand that. I see how that can happen. And then he gave me the pieces, helped me know where to get the information, who to connect with, or whatever. And so that's what I did.
You're talking about your Monday piece of paper of information and stuff.
Well, it's one tiny piece of it, yeah.
Talking about just for home games coordination?
No, for everything, for the whole season.
What about the refs? How'd you get involved with the refs?
That's part of my job. I go and
How'd you get involved with that, though?
I got involved with it because the checks didn't happen one time, and so there was hey, I think that's what you're probably getting to.
I don't know. Did you take that away from Clay, or did he give that to you?
He gave that to me. I didn't take anything away from anybody.
Okay.
And that happened one time. We got the checks to the refs before the game started, didn't we?
Yeah, it only happened one
Thank
time.
you.
I mean, it only happened one time. That's the reason I'm trying to figure out why it only happened one time, and it somehow went to Devon. So, I'm puzzled.
It didn't go to Devon because of that.
Well, why did it go to Devon to begin with at all? Why did you not still handle that for?
I don't exactly remember what the problem was, but there was an issue at the time that was...
He was having a difficult time getting there on time for something about your schedule.
Because of my work, I wasn't able to get off work until 4 o'clock, I think, at the time.
Yeah. So I don't know the specifics about that. Because I don't understand why we're...
So yeah, I think that is what it was. It's because you knew you were going to be there.
Yes.
For me. At my work, sometimes held me past 4. Because if I'm on the phone, I'm on the phone. I don't walk out of my employer's office to go coach a football game. If I'm helping a customer, I gotta help the customer.
I get that.
That's done.
I get that. Work is
I'm off
important.
at 3 now.
But
So we
Man.
never,
I don't get it why you upset that I seem to take AD stuff away from you, but you just really give them to Devon, and that's okay. I don't get that at all
because
whatsoever.
we were working together.
Yeah. Were you upset that I made Sarah the parent pride director? That's not the catalyst for why you're upset. I mean, you never answered my question though. Do you want to run parent pride or do you want to be the AD? You still never answered my question.
Well, I don't understand why you're making the division that you're making the division at.
Because
why are you pulling parent pride away from the AD responsibilities?
Because the thing is that 80% of her tasks are all parent pride tasks.
No, that's not wasn't my question.
That
Why
is,
are you pulling the parent pride out away from the AD responsibilities?
because the AD has oversight of parent pride, not responsibility of parent pride.
That's a blurred line.
No, it's not.
If you're overseeing it, you're responsible for it.
Well, you're responsible for the actions of it, but you're not responsible for the maintaining and for ruling of everything that they do. And that's just it. Is that we all have maintaining of it, because just like you said, we all get together and we all have input and we all get to see how it goes. And we all have, well, minus you because you're not there, but we all have input and insight of how the season goes. That's the purposes of it. So we all have ownership of parent pride, but we don't directly get to rule parent pride. Coach Tim doesn't get to rule parent pride. That's the reason I put Sarah Bailey in charge of her, because she gets to direct the people that are there.
What you ask her to do.
No, that's not me.
That is you.
That's not me. No, that's the reason that she gets to be in charge of doing that. Yes, it was me at the beginning, yes. But now she is the one who gets to do what I was doing. And if you have a problem with that, you got a problem with it. Because who else is going to sit there and direct things when somebody who's supposed to be the director is not there? Okay.
So Tim,
So,
the list that you
And
put
that's your
together-
problem, right?
What? What's my problem?
That you're not there.
No, my problem is that you pushed me out.
I didn't push
for
you out there.
Yes, you did.
No, I did
And
not.
then you blame me for being out.
I didn't push you out.
Yes, you did.
Okay. How many more emails you been pull up and recite to you about trying to pull you in?
Let's move forward.
Okay. Well, I would love to move forward, but you just keep bringing stuff up that
Yep.
doesn't need to be
I
brought
do.
up.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to ask Devon questions here.
So
And
Tim,
and again, I'm trying to ask you that I don't have any problems whatsoever trying to move forward working with you. But here's what I stated in this meeting with James and Joe. One, I'm not moving forward working with you at all, Clay. That's the whole purpose and intent of asking for your resignation of this and trying to get you to pass your stuff off. And if this is a transitionary season for you, then so be it. I can work with you to transition your stuff off. And if it's for whatever purpose and intent, let's do that. Let's get you to transition your stuff off and do that, because my intent and purpose of this is not to defame you. It's not to put you in a negative light in front of parents and people and all that kind of stuff, because like I've told you plenty of times, I like you. I personally like you. And I personally still call you a friend. Business side of wise, I don't like you. Business wise, I don't like you at all. But personally, I like you a lot. I've told you that, and I've texted you that, and I've emailed you that thousands of times. So business wise, from a business standpoint, as we talk about business here now, you do not get the job done. And that's why I said moving forward, I'm not doing this with you here, business wise. Personally, I'd love for you to still be around. I'd love for you to personally still be around here, because you are still of a figurehead of what KC Lions football is. I'm not asking you to disappear. I'm just asking you to step down from a position that you barely even touch, that you're barely even involved with, that you have a handful of positions that you still pass off because you don't have the time for, because you're busy with personal obligations, because you're busy with other things. And that's just it, is that you can be busy and not have time for stuff. And if you don't, then you can personally pass them off. I can personally pass stuff off. I'm sure Luke in his time in his career has personally passed stuff off that he's been ADs and coaches for. And I'm sure Devon has personally passed stuff off that she's probably been in charge of stuff for, because you don't have to. I mean, we all do it. And I'm not faulting you for it at all, Clea. I'm not. If you don't got time for it, you don't got time for it. But if you don't got time to be the AD, you can't be the AD anymore.
But
I'm not going to.
That's the whole purpose of me not coaching this year.
Well, you're not coaching. I don't know why you're not coaching for. I don't know. I mean, like I said before, you didn't tell me until 2 or 3 hours before we were supposed to have our coaches meeting this year.
But you knew it.
Well,
You talked to Joe.
Well,
So don't sit there and lie to me and tell me
no,
that you
actually,
didn't know it.
I talked to Ryan. He told me in October.
Well, there you go.
And I'm like, well, I'll just wait for Clea to tell me, because you tell me this. And I'm like, he hadn't given me the due courtesy of telling me.
I hadn't made that decision back then.
Well, then at least, well, I mean, if you hadn't made the decision, that's fine. But
so you sitting there acting like when I told you like it was earth-shattering, shocking news.
well, it was. It was
You're a liar,
shocking
Tim.
news
Because
that
you
tell
knew
me.
it all along.
No,
that I
I
was
just
thinking that.
No, I just heard it.
No, that's a lie.
And you made the decision, and you could have told me this a long time ago when you was making the decision, saying, "Hey, I was thinking about stepping down. I could be not great. What can I do to help you?" Because I could have helped you, and we could have done a better job of grooming Ryan to take your position. But you didn't want to work with me in that. Now, why you didn't want to tell me, I don't know. But you didn't. And you're right. Was it shocking that you wanted to actually physically step down? Yes. I was shocked, and I was kind of upset that you actually did. Because I thought you was going to continue on, and I wasn't expecting you to actually quit. Did I think Ryan was ready? No. I didn't think he was ready at all. Because of the attitudes that him and Domsh had, I knew he wasn't ready because of the way he handled that. I knew he wasn't ready to be a head coach. And I still don't think he's ready to be a head coach. But we don't have any other alternative to find somebody else to replace him. So we're going to have to deal with it this year and see what happens. But no, I don't think he's ready at all. But that's just my personal opinion. But he's your man. If you think he's ready, then we'll go with whatever happens. But I don't think he's ready yet. I still think he needs another year or so of grooming because of whatever deals that he has with however he wants to run things. But the way he handled Domsh, and that's just one parent. And that's not a parent, but that's a fellow associate coach. And for somebody to be a head coach and to handle an associate coach and a parent the way that he did, not professional. Not professional at all. And that was fired. That should have been put out a long time ago before it even festered to the point that it did.
Neither he nor Andy has ever told me what you're talking about.
Well, all I know is that I jumped in the middle of whatever that was because y'all let that fester to the point to where I had to get involved because I didn't even know what in the world that was all about until I got involved with it. And I wish y'all would have got me involved a lot sooner so we could have hashed it out before it even came to the boiling point that it did. But again, I let you handle your business. I try not to get into your business at all as the head coach for your program. I give you due diligence for you to handle your people, and I don't ever get into your business at all. But I wish you would at least let me got into that one to help fuel the flames a little bit. So whatever that was all about, which I still don't even know half of what that was all about, because all I know is that Domsh is still pissed off at both you and I didn't do nothing to that poor dude. I mean, I don't know what he's upset at me about, but he's still upset at me, and he's still upset at you, and I don't care if he's upset neither.
He talks to me all the time. He doesn't.
Well,
seem to be
I don't care
mad at
neither.
me, but at any rate,
well, I'm just saying whatever that is, I don't know. And was I upset? Yeah.
his issue is safety. He doesn't believe you're safe enough, coach.
Well, I don't understand that when we follow every single process that we have. And
I'm telling you what he said.
well, he's told me the same thing, but I told him look at the policies, and we follow every single policy. Now, just because we coach at a varsity level versus his youth level, and with young kids, yeah, you have to be a lot safer than you do with varsity kids. But our kids are grown men, and you don't treat grown men like little padded babies. And you gotta let them hit a little harder and let them, because the kids that they're going to play are not going to sit there and patty cake them on the football field.
I'm not disagreeing with the concept that you have to be able to hit.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I
so
understand
so that's his big policy, is that he doesn't understand that with bigger boys, you have to let them play like bigger boys. And that was what I tried to iterate to him. And whether he wants to listen, I don't care. So,
Well,
and
he,
if he wants to be a head coach one of these days and coach bigger boys, then he can do that on his own
I
time.
think he's best suited for baseball, but we'll
And
see.
and you can come, and he can come take my spot as a head coach one of these days. I don't know. You can make that decision on that, but I don't know. But I'm just trying to get tasks worked out.
His test season is baseball right now. We'll see how he does.
Well,
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
they're-
the jury's still out with him.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. He's a different personality. There's no doubt. He doesn't handle things right.
So on that subject, would it be helpful for Clee to kind of work with Ryan this year to help him?
I had planned on being there for Ryan for whatever he needed.
I would love for you to still be there for Ryan, if
But
you
I
want my
just
honest
can't commit.
opinion.
I can't commit to being at games at 4:00 and stuff like that.
Well,
I can't do that anymore.
okay.
At the point in my career, I just don't have the time off, and I can't be leaving at 2:00 to go to a football game anymore. That's the biggest reason I'm doing it.
Well, clearly then if he's not where he needs to be, we have to have somebody we don't want the junior high program to fall apart.
Well, it's not going to fall apart. I'm going to make sure it doesn't fall apart.
I think we've got some good
But
helpers coming in. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't talked to Alan. Have you?
I've talked to him, and he should be pretty stable.
Okay.
He's a stable guy, but he
So-
knows not much about football besides flag football world.
My real concern with junior high going forward is constant rotation of coaches and figuring out a way to make sure that the program doesn't become a helter-skelter thing, that kids are running in and out because they don't know who the coach is, and every time there's a new coach, it's a different structure, different format, different everything. And yeah, that's my biggest concern about junior high right
Well,
now.
we'll figure that out. We'll figure out the coaching world. All right. Let me ask you this, Devon. When you came to my house on October 23rd, what did you want to say to me that you didn't get to say to me?
23rd.
Yeah.
Help me out. I don't.
When you came to my house, this stemmed from the conversation about the playoffs, and I think you got upset when you got upset with him about.
No, I was upset with you.
Well, I know you got upset with me, but you was upset with him first because you wasn't getting information from Kenny. I was upset with him because he wasn't including us information from Kenny. I was getting texts from Van Camp asking about if we're playing them or not. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'm totally out of the whole schedule thing. And then you're talking about getting some information from Tracy, and then you're like, it'd be nice to be CC'd on information. I said, yeah, and you know how I feel about it because I don't get CC'd from both of you. And then you come storming to the field. I seen you at the field getting pretty stormed up.
I wasn't stormed up. I was trying to figure out a few things, and then I realized this wasn't really a place to ask questions. And so I thought, you know what? I could talk to your wife. And because I know that she loves you and she can help me sometimes understand how you communicate and what you're actually trying to say, rather than, because sometimes you're really abrasive and harsh.
Yeah.
And in the group chat that you were, so my love language is words, and sometimes words then they mean more to me than they do other people when they say them.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. And so I have that own internal thing trying to figure like, okay, he's probably whatever. But just the way you worded it, you always throw Clee and I together and this YouTube better do blah, blah, blah. We didn't even know what you're talking about because neither one of us got that information. So it felt very harsh, and it was, I was having a day anyway. And so I thought, I'm just going to go to Tanya and see like what does she think about, not think about you, but like, just, is he upset with me? What do you think about this, so that she can kind of talk through? And we talked through a lot of things. We talked through things with her and I that we needed to talk through. And I didn't actually need to talk to you when you came back, because when you showed up, because I felt like, he's just frustrated because he didn't have the information, just like we were frustrated, and that's how he put it out there. And I had and that was the end of that. So I didn't feel like I needed to have that conversation.
Oh, okay. You said I am still not included in emails. Thankfully, Tracy reached out and I said, yeah, it's not fun, is it? I'm not included in both of you guys. So that was pretty harsh and abrasive when I said, yeah, it's not fun, is it?
No, that's not what I was talking about. It was earlier.
What does Kenny say, since he seems to be the one calling the shots all by himself? How's this system fair?
No.
If this is going on over record over CFS?
No, I was talking about you two better, blah, blah, blah. Something like that. Tim, to go back and just to tell me that you don't think that it was harsh, that's fine. That's your opinion. I don't
that's
really
fine.
know what we're trying to get to on that.
And do you know how bad it looked that we didn't want to play CFS?
How fair was it for
I
us
had
to say?
to go
for
up
us
and apologize to Kip.
Okay, let me set this up for you. I mean, do you understand how the
Not apologize to him.
do you understand
make sure he knew
how the playoff system was
that it was
set up for
not-
us?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay, original in the past, it was a 4-team system. Top 4 gets to play in the playoffs.
And you're in a conference?
Okay, yeah, we're
Well,
a
it's not a
conference.
conference.
Well, it is a conference. It's KSC.
It's
Okay.
loose.
Okay,
It's-
top 4 plays in there. This past season, they said, "Hey, we're going to do the top 8." No,
6.
was it 6?
Yeah.
6 teams.
6.
2 get a bye and 4 have to
Okay,
play the first week.
the top 6, first 2 gets a bye. The last 4 gets to battle it out.
Keep
all
in
right?
mind
Now,
that these are Kenny's decisions.
throughout the season, teams started dropping out for some goofy reason. I don't know why, but now all of a sudden, teams who were in the conference now no longer in the conference, and now are no longer eligible for some goofy reason. And now it came to be where now there's only 5 teams that are eligible. And I'm thinking, well, if there's only 5 teams, why don't we just go back to a top 4 again? And what happened was that it required us as KC Lions to have to play basically 2 playoff games while everybody else got a bye week.
And I
So,
understand the concern
really-
there and the frustration.
So really,
I get that.
because we were the 5th seed, the 5th and the 4th got to play while the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd got a bye. And we had to play basically a survival game, which we knew we were going to win regardless
It was an inferior opponent.
because it was CFS, because we beat them the first game,
But-
50-0.
So
And it
you
was
guys,
like,
they forced you to do like a play-in game to get to a
Right.
4-team
absolutely.
bracket.
But
And it was like, well, how was that fair?
the frustrating part was, or the thing that I didn't feel like you had any consideration for,
Mm-hmm.
was if you tell CFS they're not a part of it, you're telling their kids that they can't play in a playoff game because you don't want to play the game. That's what they viewed. That's what they looked like. And when I say I apologize to Kip, I went up to him and I told him, I said, look, our claim not to want to play this game had nothing to do with you guys. I made sure that he knew that.
No.
It was just the competitive situation. And I knew that's what you were thinking.
Yeah.
But-
And it wasn't for me
So-
to
so
play the
don't
game
get me-
against
I didn't
CFS.
apologize that we played the game.
Yeah, because I didn't care if
I
it was
just told
CFS
them.
or live prep.
Right.
It was just the factor of having to play another game while
The
everybody else
extra
got a
game.
bye week.
That was his concern.
And I was like, how's that even fair? And I said, why is Kenny not going to a top 4? And why are you not like on his butt about going to a top 4? Because how's that fair for us to play an extra game? It's not. And to play a survival game, I mean, how is that fair for us? And it wasn't. And that was the whole gist of that conversation. And I was like, dude, do what you can to advocate for us. Advocate for us. Advocate and say, it's not fair for us to have to do this. Why are we doing this for?
That's exactly what I
And
told
So
him.
I understand what you're talking about now.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
it-
yeah.
it's happened on the basketball side. It puts
Yeah.
you at a disadvantage because you physically, you're more exhausted maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And
You don't have to play 2 games in one day.
I
do you?
No,
expressed,
Okay.
No.
I expressed all of those concerns to Kenny.
Yeah.
I didn't give any out on them because I understood where he was coming from, and I'm not opposed to what he's saying.
Yeah.
And I can stand for what he's saying.
Yeah.
But then again, I do see the other side. Kenny's in a bad position because he would have to tell a team, you've been promised to playoff all season long, and now you don't get to.
Yeah. But that was
So,
when we had
I understand.
8 teams,
Yeah.
Yeah.
at the beginning. But
Oh,
then everybody
exactly.
started dropping off like flies.
So from a coaching standpoint, my question, just to learn more, do you have non-starters that you could have played in that game and still won that game?
Well,
I don't know, I'm just.
Now, do we want to go into that?
Here's the thing.
Because
And all I have to draw from, and excuse me, but it's basketball, they'll play their bench in a game.
Here's the problem.
And
Here's the
then-
problem with Eggman football. If you don't go with your starters and you get behind, you throw your starters in there, it is such a high scoring game, it's very difficult to manage that. Even if you get a big lead and you start pulling your starters out, if they start coming back, sometimes you can't stop the tide.
Okay,
I mean, it's a
Well, that
dangerous thing. So it's a playoff game. You have to play it to win it.
that all makes sense.
we can end the conversation there. We can end the conversation there.
You disagree?
Well, no, but I'm just not going to get into the drama of that. So I'll just end the conversation there.
Did I ask the wrong question?
No, I just don't want to get into the drama
Did I
of that.
make the wrong statement?
No, you didn't. But
Okay.
there's more drama involved in that I don't want to get into because I'm just not going to get into it.
Okay.
Because
We'll
it's
move
not going to make somebody look good. So it's not something that I'm going to bring out in this forum. So I'll keep it to myself. So we'll so you're saying that that when you came to my house you didn't have nothing else to say to me whatsoever?
No.
Okay. When you spoke with Sarah, what did you mean by the phrase having Luke put me in my place? What is that supposed to mean? Since you're into words of affirmation and words of have meaning, what does that mean to have Luke to put me in my place when you spoke with Sarah? How all this is supposed to be. How was Luke supposed to put me in my place?
I never said that, and I would never say that because I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Please be honest with me, Devon.
I'm absolutely being honest with you.
Okay. Can you please be honest with me and tell me why?
I have
would
no idea
say-
what you're talking about.
Okay. I don't want to pry any further then. I won't pry any further.
Is that what Sarah told you? So you believe Sarah over Devon?
Well, here's what I believe. I believe that when, and that's just it. When I counsel young married couples, there's always three sides to every story. There's
And the truth's somewhere in the middle.
exactly. There's his side, there's her side, and there's always the truth. And I just search for the truth. And when Sarah tells me that, and I'm asking her, and she tells me she didn't say that, the truth is out there somewhere. And so if she says that she didn't say that, all right. But I'm just trying to figure out why,
I
because
would never say that.
Okay.
I don't even know. I'm trying to think of something I could have said that she could have thought I said that. I have no idea
okay,
because I don't feel like you need to be put in your place.
okay, I got you. I'm just
Not
trying to
at
get to
all.
the truth. All right, let's get to the truth. Money, my money. Why do both of you care about how I spend my money? I need to
I
figure
don't care
that
how you
out.
spend your money. I just know that when you're not here, I want us to be able to continue things.
That's
talking
not
about
that's,
Letterman
that's not the
jackets?
discussion that you have with my wife when you came to my wife on October 23rd. So you and my wife had this discussion, and from what we've gathered is that, and you've had a problem for a while because you've mentioned this to me in the past plenty of times, is that you do have a concern because you feel like that because of the money that I put into it, that it's not
Sustainable. Right.
And I said, it can be in the long run, eventually. But how you guys do it once I'm gone, you guys will figure that out.
Well,
And I've
see,
told you
that's-
this
Right,
plenty
but
of times.
That's one
what-
of the things that has
That's
to
what
be
I
planned
wanted
for
to.
now.
I don't want it to be like every year we buy you I say we, Lucy, but it's you.
Yeah.
Who buys Letterman jackets.
Yeah.
And then the year that you're gone,
Nobody
okay,
gets
there's
them.
nobody's buying it, so
Then nobody
it's just
hardly takes
it's just a
players.
really abrupt
Yeah.
stop.
So
So
we-
my just let me. I
Go ahead.
can talk. It's okay.
Mhm.
So my long term vision has
Mm-hmm.
been like, okay, so how are we sustainably gonna finish this so that it doesn't just end for those poor kids that year that they've seen other people get a free jacket and then they don't get one.
Yeah.
So I was trying to talk through how, and you and I have talked about this. Do we at some point do a halvesies? Do we do a I don't know what it looks like. So
Yeah.
that's all. That's what I've been trying to figure out, and I still don't know exactly how that looks.
Okay.
Because I know you love to do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's huge. You
It's
doing that
monster.
at the beginning,
Mhm.
like Luke came to that banquet with his Letterman jacket on, he got attention. it was like, whoa, we can have a Letterman jacket. And so I think that's amazing that you have done that. And I have no idea how you afford to do it, but I'm glad that you've been able to afford to do that because it's fed into the, you want to say ministry, sort of is, the organization.
Okay. But I'm trying to get around. I get what you're saying and I hear it, but here's the thing. When you say it in a different environment, it's very negative. You're saying it positive here, but when you say it in parent prod meetings and when you say it in other areas, it's very negative. And
I apologize.
And it's very negative to the point to where you're chastising me, and I don't feel I need to be chastised for what I do with my money. And the same thing from you, because I don't feel like that how I do and what I do with my money is nobody's concern. And the thing is that, and I've told this to every single one of you, and even to Coach Jason, is that the purpose and intent for all this was that one, and I've even told this to Luke, the reason that this was all done was one, there had to be a reason for there to be longevity for the kids to stick around. In order for there to be an effective football team and for kids to stick around, there had to be a wow factor for these kids to eventually to become and stay to be seniors, and for there to be a tangible incentive for them. And that's where it started out from.
Right.
And then through attrition, we figured out a game plan on how it is something that they can be able to earn and for them to pay for. And we come up with that plan as we discuss these things. And it is where my funds are eventually cut off and weaned off from the system. And that's what we've been trying to do, is to trying to earn enough through fundraising and doing those kind of things and coming up with a system to do that.
Yeah, but you have never mentioned like that. You just always
it's been mentioned before in the meetings and stuff, and the plans have been there. I think it's just the involvement of trying to find the amount of things that can make it to be. Mm-hmm. So I think that's just it. And whether you guys want to listen to those things or not, I don't know. But what I'm saying is that here you make it sound like you're very supportive and it's okay, but in other settings, it's a negative thing. And I'm just not sure I'm getting the true you in getting that information today. Right. So I'm done with the questions because I just don't think I'm getting a true picture of what needs to happen. So forget that. Let me ask you this, Clee. Has the reservations for the field been made yet? For the practice field been made yet?
I haven't given her any dates yet.
Why not?
Did you give me dates?
Dude. If you go back to the admin chat on February...
This is a rolling agreement. Am I wrong?
On the admin chat...
Is Tina not expecting us to leave? Everything has been in limbo since you started this mess.
On the admin chat on February the 28th, I said calendar for the season is complete, so all the days for practice field requirements are on there. Remember that conditioning days are 1 hour and then jumps to 2 hours with camps through rest of the season when you submit your total hours to Jackson County for field reservations. And you gave me a thumbs up.
Okay.
Which means you saw it and you acknowledged it.
Okay.
So I'm asking you, have you made the reservations when I gave you the information here?
I have not, because of
all the calendar has been populated in band for you to go in there and get the dates from. So you have not done that yet.
No, I haven't. But I will. We are in the process of finalizing these things so we can move forward.
I gave you that information after our first meeting.
And then you tried to get me out.
It doesn't matter. I gave you the information.
Whatever. You failed to understand your impact on this process.
Okay, I'm not doing this, man. Let me ask you this. If that hasn't been done, then that means the COI for Jackson County hasn't been submitted to them yet for this year, correct?
It possibly has not.
Okay.
The what?
That's the first thing that needs to happen then. So a COI for 2024 that needs to be updated and needs to be sent to Jackson
I can have
County.
a COI by tomorrow.
Okay, that's the first thing that needs to happen because they
I
want
need
that.
The evidence of interest
of the facility.
I'll give you last year's COI. Let me email that to you now.
Okay. And that'll have the address on it?
That'll give you everything. All you have to do
Okay.
is copy and paste
I have
information from there.
Just for everybody here, I have a direct contact with our insurance agent. And I send him something, that guy, in 10 minutes, he sends me back a
So
new
what does
COI.
COI mean?
It's a
Certificate of
certificate of
insurance.
insurance. So, I've done COIs for half a dozen people this week already. Yesterday. Okay, so that's probably not on this sheet. Practice field, or am I missing
It is not. I haven't seen it on there.
It is not on there yet.
That's the reason I asked that
It
question.
needs to be on there.
Okay.
When is the proper time to have that done?
That is done, when I sent them in
February?
It's usually done in February to March timeframe. Immediately after, I always do it in February to March timeframe.
So you, first you have to get the insurance paperwork sent to the field coordinator?
You always need to
Yeah,
update COI for the year.
They have to have the COI for the year, because they have to know that we have insurance.
And then you can schedule the dates for the
Well,
field.
I mean, they can schedule the dates
Okay.
without that, they just have to have it before we get out there.
So I will tell everybody here, we do have a big issue. At the end of February is when our insurance gets renewed. We don't get a new 2024, like we didn't get our new 2024 insurance until like the last 2 days of February. So it really doesn't apply until March. Like March 1st is when I can get our new, otherwise it shows 2023 on the COI, and none of the locations like to see that 2023
So you gotta
date.
win,
What's that?
Till
It's
March.
at the very end of February. Typically it's
is when you got it
is
for
when we roll
2024.
over and we renew our insurance, and then
Okay.
it shows 2024
So we're
dates,
not really able to do it until March
March 1st.
1st?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll adjust that. There's a new guy doing it, Tina's handed it off, I believe his name is Scott.
I can't believe you're gonna blame, you sit
Or
here and you
Steve.
blame this on me. When I give you the information, Clay, come on now, man.
I believe his name is Scott or Steve, and I will get with him tomorrow to make sure that he's got us down for the dates. And
You want yours
That's
on
what
the
the COI
gmail.com or is the
You email
sbcglobal.net
him
email?
for-
I
or
will,
What's your email that you're
I
using
will
primarily?
email him
He
because he
was
needs to
gonna
have all the
give
dates
me,
written.
create one for me
and
for
then
Lion stuff, but
copy all of us on
SBC
there,
Global is
and
what
then
I
I
use for
can
pretty much everything.
Get the address and then I'll respond back with the COI.
Unless you wanted a Google Drive, and then that's my Google
No,
address.
I'm just
so.
trying to see you guys on all this
That's
stuff,
okay.
because that's what I always do here. All right.
Are we gonna be okay on practice field dates then?
I don't know, because hopefully they're not reserved for nothing else. I don't know.
Nobody's out there.
But yeah, I mean, nobody's out there, so hopefully not.
Okay.
So you're calling him tomorrow?
He's
I'm
in
gonna send an email probably tonight.
okay, perfect. Again, like I've asked everybody, CC all of us on there, and then I can respond back with the COI. And then if I attach a COI and I copy everybody back, then everybody will have a copy of the COI.
That's a good plan.
Where else is that needed?
The only places that I know of, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, is practice field locations and maybe game field locations. Sometimes the game field, if it's a different location.
We'll have to have one for them too.
They want a COI for
Yes.
that typically.
And,
Especially if we're hosting. If we're going to
Yeah, they don't-
participate on somebody else's field, they never ask us
they
for a
never
COI.
ask us for one.
The
because-
host team's COI is usually applies.
All right, so there's the one from last year that's just sent. You can use that as a template,
All right.
and take it from there.
So if we pencil in like a practice,
I'll get with you with everything else I've got here. I'm not gonna sit here and waste my time with him blaming me for everything that's going on. So, I'm not gonna sit here and waste my time with this. So, you transfer whatever you got to for her, get that squared away. But apparently, this is not gonna work out, Clay. So, you handle his stuff on your end. I'll get with you on mine. I'll tell you right now that if the field hasn't even been reserved, then first thing you need to work on immediately is getting equipment inventory done now. I'll tell you that Jason and I have already taken care of getting the schedules and stuff in Huddle and in Max Prep. We already got the roster transferred over because that wasn't even done yet. So I showed Jason what to do on that, and he got that done yesterday, Monday. So that's taken care of. And also equipment needs to be inventoried for one, so we know what we got. It needs to be washed and taken care of. The jerseys need to be inventoried ASAP, so we know what we got for jerseys. Those need to be, I know that the guys that bought theirs, we need to get their replacements done and get that ordered. And that needs to be done by at least middle of next at the latest. And then from there, we need to get an order for all the equipment and stuff. Once we go through that, I would tell you that we need some more shoulder straps that needs to be ordered because we got like maybe just a handful that's left now. That's all I know from the top of my head that I know that we need.
How do we determine what helmets that we need to buy?
Okay, let me ask you the thing with the helmets, because when you mentioned this the last meeting, what were you trying to get him to purchase with the helmets? Because he purchased a whole bunch of helmets last season, but the helmets that he purchased were not the sizes that we needed. So there's a whole bunch of helmets. There's like a box of helmets and another bunch of helmets that are sitting there, which can eventually be used once we get the kids with the right heads to use them. But I don't know what more additional helmets that we're going to need until we get the kids with the right size heads. So we have to take the measurements first before we know what we need to order, instead of just doing an order of random things that we don't know what they are.
Well, but here's the thing. While they're less than $300 at Epic for F7s, I feel like we need to place a supplemental order to replace those things we've thrown away.
And how much do we have to pay for that? Because we haven't reconciled nothing in the budget yet.
I know.
Okay. So in your mind, how much do you think that you want to spend for that?
My thinking is we could get away with 10 helmets at this time.
What sizes?
That's what I need your help with. What mix you would want.
Well, the last time I told you to order mediums, and then you showed up with these.
I ordered what you told me.
I said mediums, and you showed up with these youth extra larges
I
and
had
stuff.
Mediums.
And most of them didn't even jive with the kids that needed them. So they need to be.
The order you're
mediums.
talking about was for junior high kids. If there was extra large youth, those were for the junior high only. You do not give those ever to a varsity player.
No, you don't. But I needed them for actual medium-sized. Well, here's the thing, Clay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which kid plays what. What matters is the size of their noggin. The helmet that they have depends on what their head size is.
Here's why it matters.
Mm-hmm.
The youth helmet is a little bit thinner. Absolutely cannot be placed on a varsity player.
That's why I told you
The
that
varsity helmet can be used in the junior high levels.
That's why I told you that when I needed mediums, I didn't need youth sizes at all. But all those that are in those boxes are youth sizes that could not have been used for the varsity kids that needed those mediums. So when I'm saying when I say adult mediums and adult larges.
So in your opinion, now, mediums and larges for varsity is what we're needing.
Yeah.
Would you think a 6 and 4 or a 7 and 3 split on that?
It depends.
Mostly mediums.
And it depends on the brand, because each brand has a different size chart.
These are all going to be the F7s.
I need to see the F7 size chart.
I'll send it to you.
Okay. Because F7 size chart is different from a Rydell, different from a bike, and everything. because what may be a medium for one is not a medium for another, because they're off by a half of an inch
Okay.
or more. And so,
So I'm ignorant with helmets.
yeah.
Is F7 what we want to have moving forward?
Well, it depends. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what brand as long as it fits.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I know he likes the F helmets or the F7s. I don't care as long as it protects their head. I don't care what it is, and as long as it don't cost an arm and a leg.
Okay.
And so if that's
Is that considered a quality helmet on the market? I mean, is that
yes, it is.
like a top tier, or
It's like maybe
NFL
above
guys wear 'em.
average. It's above average.
it's above average?
Yeah.
NFL guys wear them. I mean, colleges wear them.
It's above average.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
for the program, we're okay with. I definitely want us to be above
We
average.
just have to have the right sizes.
Yeah.
And if it's F7s or Rydell's,
Yeah.
whatever, as long as they're those quality,
Mm-hmm.
verified, tested helmets, they're fine.
Okay.
But this is where again
I mean, if it was me, I'd get Visiks for $1,200 a piece, and we'd rock on because they're the best helmet on the market.
but we're just
we
taking
don't
a
have
shot
that
in the
now.
dark by doing this, by not having measurements of kids.
Right.
You know, I mean, we're trying to take advantage of a sale, but it's going to suck when half of these may not even fit, and they're going to be sitting on the shelf.
Well, that's why I was wanting to limit it to 10. How many helmets did we end up throwing away?
Oh, about
13, I thought.
yeah, it was about 12 or 13. It was about 12 or 13 helmets that we threw away.
So we're not replacing all of them with this order. And by the way, Nate's helmet somehow did not get in the box, so it cannot be used this year.
Whose helmet?
Nate Locke. His helmet should have been sent back. I don't know how it didn't get sent to me. Because he's got the sticker, the speed sticker on the back. It's still in the shed. It needs to be set aside, not used.
His helmet was. I know I saw that. I know I saw it. Yeah, it's got the shake and bake on there.
Shake and bake, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Should have been sent back.
So is the majority of our helmets medium then? Is that why we're
No, it's because that was what we were short last year,
okay?
and
Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking we need to balance it.
and we
overload it
and
to
we may be
the
short with something else this year. We don't. I mean, again, we just don't know because with new players coming in, and here's what happens. And I'll tell you this right now. I tell them all to get a haircut before we measure your head
To measure it.
because you have these idiots that come in there, and I'm like, get your haircut before we measure. They'll come in there with a full head of hair. We'll measure them, and they'll come back and they'll like 2 months later with short hair. Now it throws everything off.
Yep.
And I'm like, you can't do that. Get your hair cut now when we measure. So therefore, if you're going, however you're going to do it, or how you're going to play for the season, keep your hair, head the same. I don't care how you do it, but don't come in, beginning of the season with big shaggy do, and come back with a crew cut because now what you had before is not going to fit anymore. You're going to be off by half an inch or more, and the air in the bladders only compensate for about a quarter of an inch, and that's it. And they don't. It's difficult enough as it is trying to get these guys to offset with their sizes and stuff. So, all right. I mean, do what you want to do. Order 10 more, but I would say order 5. Well, I would say order 6 mediums and order. Good Lord. Let me think.
We don't need any extra larges.
No, we don't need no extra
Got that
larges.
covered.
That's for sure. I would say do 6 mediums and four larges for now.
Yeah, I just want a minimum order just to make sure we
Yeah.
have a good
But I
start.
want to say that we started having issues with smalls last year though because all those little 6th graders and everybody was having little small heads.
I can throw 3 smalls in there, adult smalls, right?
Yeah, but we just don't know yet. I mean, I just don't
You
want to be
hold off?
frivolously just being throwing
So
it
what
out
is-
there.
what is a
Here's
helmet
the
normally-
pro- here's
what's
the
a
problem
helmet normally
Here's the
sell
problem with ordering a helmet that sits on the shelf. You lose a year of its life. Okay, so that's why the reluctance to overorder. is there, but you're never gonna have just enough helmets for every player. You're always gonna have, I mean, theoretically, you need more, you need extras, and what happens if somebody breaks one in the middle of the season? You don't wanna wait a week and a half to get another helmet in. So, we do need a little bit of a supply sitting there, but you've gotta be careful not to get too much, because then you're just wasting money, sitting on the shelf, not being used.
That's a challenge I've never had to deal with before.
It is a challenge, it's a challenging issue.
But you gotta have it. I understand that. That's a tough one.
Now, we don't have dates on shoulder pads, and I've looked, I haven't really necessarily seen it.
Well, we need to get rid of
We need to get rid of
about a
some
third
those.
of them in stock, because really, they're supposed to have a 3 to 4 year shelf life.
And so I can get shoulder pads anywhere from 70 to $100 a piece.
And the third would be how many roughly? Just a rough number.
Of about 20.
20? 20 sets of shoulder pads?
Yeah. Because we ordered about 10 last year, which were for more of the smaller kids, and that fits them fine. But we also have a whole bunch of bigger, heavy sets, which we don't have any beefy dudes, and we're not going to have for quite a spell. And those are sitting around rotting, and we've already had 3 or 4 totally break last year, so those have to be replaced regardless. So I know there at least has to be 2 mediums and 2 larges that need to be replaced, because those broke. So that needs to be ordered. So really, what needs to happen is all the equipment stuff needs to happen now. All that needs to be inventoried. All it needs to be maintained and washed and ordered. The jerseys.
I understood that there was a company that
We used to use.
that we used to use.
Servco.
I know Servpro's expensive, I can tell you that.
Yeah. So we may need to find alternatives.
What's that for?
Washing of this stuff.
Oh, that?
If we
Well-
were to have somebody else do it.
Yeah, I mean,
Which we haven't been
What does
doing.
that take?
I
Is
don't
it
know.
just a
I took them home and did everything myself.
A power
And it-
washer?
And it cost me nothing but labor. So, like I said, you take the shoulder pads, you
You
take the
can
padding
get-
out of them. You want to keep them all the same sizes, so therefore you don't alternate, because then you have to figure out what sizes are large. So you take 5 large or 6 large shoulder pads, take all the padding out of them, wash them, and sanitize them. Then you go put them right back, and while you do that, you go wash the shells, wash and rinse the shells, and then sun dry. And if there's padding that you can't take out, then you have to do what's called the dunk method. So what you have to do is get some bins, fill it up with water, put some detergent in there, and you have to soak them, and you have to scrub them. Soak them and scrub them, and then you have to have another bin full of clean water, rinse them off. Then you have to go to Lowe's and get some sanitizing stuff from there to mix with water, dunk them in the sanitizing, and then hose it off. Let it sit out in the sun and dry out. And
So you can-
there's
you can
a
see why
handful.
Servco is expensive.
So yeah, so there's a handful of those you have to do, but most of those newer pads you can be able to just take the under pad off of them. But most of the older ones you have to actually dunk them, and that takes some time. That's why I start that in June when it's sunny and the rainy season's done. And so, but you got to get all the shoulder pads out, get that done, and get that taken care of.
Clean equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that on here has a 7/15 date. That's July. That's maybe that should be more like, that's a complete buy.
Yeah, like I said, these
Maybe,
these all,
Yeah, they-
all need to be start dates, not due dates.
Yeah. When do you guys start needing pads?
No, we'll start needing those by the 3rd week in June, because we need to start passing them out. Well, really, yeah, about the 3rd week in June to pass them out.
Okay.
And that's when we need all the equipment, by the 3rd week in June to pass them out.
Okay. So if we need to order shoulder pads, those are sized, I'm sure, right? There's probably
Yeah, there's different
medium,
sizes.
large, extra large.
Yep.
So,
All the sizing and everything should happen at the beginning of June,
okay.
when the conditioning and everything happens, when everybody shows up.
Is there sales on shoulder pads, or you just buy them for the?
I mean, not really, that I know of. I mean, the
So
thing
it's-
is, like with Epic, if you buy stuff from Epic, I mean, it can be $300 today, $500 tomorrow. I mean, they jacked the price of those helmets and then they brought them back down.
Sales for those usually happen in May.
Usually right now, yeah, the last I checked, I just checked it recently, they were like $75 to $100, depending on which ones you get. So it's pretty reasonable, in reality, and those are, a lot of those are, shut and main brand
Okay.
items.
How many shoulder straps would you like to have?
We need at least 10 to 15 sets. I'll take that back. You need to get 10 sets of the 1.5 inch, I think it is, and 10 sets of the inch. And that's a minimum. You may need to get more because if there's
You want 20
repairs,
each?
well, you may have to because there's repairs that need to be made on the shoulder pads themselves for replacements. You have to make the replacement. And really, the numbers themselves right now doesn't matter. When you start doing your inventory and you start doing your inspections, that's when you start making the numbers. So putting 10 or 20 now, it doesn't mean nothing right now. You have to go out there and start looking and start figuring it out from there, because these numbers don't mean nothing until you start looking. You got to look and see what you have in stock. Now you got to go out there and start looking and see what the equipment looks like now from, and then start making your ideas of what you need to do and get your estimate. And like I say, you always have to order 15% more. 15% more is going to give you the extras that you need for those game bags and for what needs to be in the Connex for practices and those things when things happen during practice, when things rip and snap and everything else.
Okay.
So whatever your final number is plus 15%, that's what you need.
So shoulder straps, and again, I hate to ask questions, just they don't have like a shelf life, but helmets and shoulder pads do have kind of a shelf life.
The shelf life for the straps, I mean, it's wear and tear.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying you can have a set sitting on the shelf that's not used
Yeah.
until they get used
Yeah.
indefinitely.
Yeah.
It's not like,
Well, maybe not indefinitely because we're talking about elastic. So,
The
I
heat
mean,
and stuff will wear
so
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's some.
I mean,
But some
maybe
of
after
those-
15 years you don't want to use them. I don't know.
I understand.
But
I shouldn't have said it.
yeah, but I mean, they will be used eventually. They're not going to sit around forever and a day. But I'm just saying that after a couple of seasons, you will have to always reorder.
Yeah.
You always reorder more because you're going to go through them like candy.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Helmets are how many years?
10.
And shoulder pads you just said were 2 to 3.
shoulder pads.
Yes.
Yeah, they vary, but they usually tell you 3 to 5 years is the shelf life for shoulder pads. That's a ballpark average, but each pad is different, or each company pad is different. But shoulder pads are always 3 to 5 years.
So from an organization, do we need to follow the 10-year rule on helmets? Could we?
Yes.
Could we go to 8?
Well, I mean, you're exceeding the manufacturer if you do that. I mean, you could.
Theoretically, we could do that.
I'm just asking. I'm not
That's-
trying to complicate it.
that's
Yeah.
more of a,
Could we be better than what the?
Yeah, but you're
we
losing money doing
could.
that.
That's more of a budget issue than a
Okay.
safety issue,
I mean, OSHA tells you 10.
because
But
they
if you
will,
want to be better than OSHA, I mean, you're not getting no fancy awards doing that. But
they will not send you back a helmet that's
yeah, I
not
mean,
eligible to be
Yeah.
used.
All right. That I'm learning. So
Yeah.
I'm asking questions.
yeah,
so
I mean, you could always be better than, but why?
We pay the conditioners to make sure those helmets are playable.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what we pay them.
yeah. Every 2 years they're reconditioned, but they have a shelf life of 10 years. After 10 years, you got to toss them out.
Okay.
No matter how many times you recondition.
Okay.
And they won't recondition them beyond 10 years.
Yeah.
All right.
But they have a little sticker on there that tells you after this, or it's engraved on there.
I did a little bit of research. Some of them even have a molded little
Yep.
tab in there, right?
Yeah.
And it's got a date, and then it points at a month or something. The arrow points at a month or something like that. Is it, am I right?
Yep.
Okay.
Sometimes, yeah.
We don't have very many of those. Most of ours have stickers.
Okay. And then the only reason I'm saying, and I know what you're saying about the 8 to 10 years, but it gives us a buffer in case we miss something.
Well, it's like even a couple of helmets this year, which I told him, they only had a year left on there, and it's like, well, let's not even send them in for recondition if it's only good for another year.
Yeah.
That's just wasted money. So even though that they still had a year's left on it, let's not even do that, because
Okay.
you're just wasting money.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because of what happened last year, there will not be a helmet handed out without somebody has looked at and documented the date.
Yeah.
Going forward. It will not happen. So
Okay.
you can't have a mistake happen. So
Okay.
I'll have a chart, or Devon or whatever, we'll have a chart ready for handing out just for the helmets. Make sure it was verified and the initials of the person who verified it, and handed it out.
Okay.
Whoever that is, whether it be Tim or
Me.
whoever.
How about reconditioning helmets? Have they been sent out already?
Yeah, we're waiting for them to come back.
Okay. Because that can be a month or two process or something, isn't it?
Yeah, they're supposed to be back by June 15th, but I told him I wanted them sooner, so he was trying to get them ahead of the schedule.
Okay.
The goal is next year to try to do that as soon as Gatlinburg is over.
After Gatlinburg, we're going to
Send
get
it
the
down.
helmets and send them in. That's an accelerated timetable from what we've had.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a lot. Field stuff, you're gonna work on that maybe tonight?
Mhm.
And then we need to set up a time to go check out equipment. Do you have, keys?
Did not bring them tonight because I thought we were meeting at James's, so I was going to go home and grab them and come back. But since we
Okay.
met here, they're at home. So
Okay.
next time we meet, I'll have the keys with me.
Okay.
I'll put them in my bag and make sure they're with me no matter where I go.
Okay.
So we have 3 locks. Did I send you the picture?
Mm-mm. Any other big things that we're missing, Tim, that we need to do?
We'll deal with the little small stuff later on. That just takes care of the big stuff that needs to
The
happen.
field
now.
thing is a big thing.
That's
and
the,
then
that's the big thing.
And then getting through equipment. And I'm fully on board with getting stuff done sooner than later. And we'll get it checked off the list. I love checking stuff off the list. Is it worth, having a discussion about cycling out the old pads that you have to dump more, where you can have them pull the padding out, so get easier to clean stuff? Is that worth having a conversation or not really? Is that kind of irrelevant?
Say that again now?
So you said there's 2 styles of pads. There's
Yeah.
one where the padding doesn't pull out,
Mhm.
and there's one where the padding does pull out.
Yeah.
Is it better to try to move us to where the padding does pull out, so
Yes.
we can
Yes.
clean that easier?
Yes.
So
And through attrition, we can do that as we get newer pads. And again, the older style is the ones where the pads can't be removed.
Okay.
So as we get new pads, those older styles can be eventually done away
Okay.
with. Yeah.
All right. So it's not worth trying to do it all this season.
No, you just do it bits and pieces at a time.
Okay.
I
Alright.
do not have the space in my house to bring all of that to my house and do that process. So is there another alternative to sending them out and spending the money, but still be able to get them clean?
Well, I would make the suggestion to get a quote first. That way we can understand what the impact is financially. And maybe Serpro isn't the only one, I don't know. But if it comes back at like $5,000, well then, we're gonna have to figure out how to clean them ourselves. But if it's, I doubt that it would be $500, then maybe we can fit it in the budget or something. But the foundation is 0 from Tim.
Well, you got
Zero cost.
time to go get you a couple of bins.
Come
Come wash
through
them.
it.
And you don't bring everything in one trip.
Okay.
Say, you know what, this week I'm gonna go wash some pants. Let's go get some pants and come wash some pants and take care of that. But what you want to do is you want to inventory everything at one time, though. You want to go out there and inventory everything. That way you already got your list of what needs to be ordered. Get that list, get online to Epic Sports or wherever, get your stuff set up to what you want to do, what you want to estimate, and get that sent to Greg in one shot and let him order it and get it to him.
Okay.
But from there, you got between now and till the 3rd week in June to get that stuff cleaned and get it done.
So we're not behind the 8 ball. We just got to get going.
You just got to get it started. And
Time is tough for me because I got two graduations and a wedding that I got
and like I said,
in that time frame.
And like I said, it takes time.
Yep.
It takes a lot. The only thing that's going to kill you is the jerseys. You got to get those jerseys done lickety split because that dude is something else. He moved twice on me, and I had to hunt him down. And
Who we talking about? Because
Straight sports, right?
Yeah.
So we have talked about a
he's
transition.
squirrely or what? See,
He's different.
We got locked into him because he's a friend of Coach Hale's. Coach Hale ordered these uniforms. So in order for us to continue to order these uniforms, we have to go back to them. It's proprietary.
oh, okay.
So the only way we're going to move away from him is if we change our design.
We got to change the design and go to whatever the company up in Liberty is.
Or
Show me logos or whatever.
we might go to
They have football
626.
uniforms?
Yeah, they can make them. I've already inquired with them and everything.
What was the price fair?
Yeah, like 60 to $70, the same price it's going to cost to have them knuckleheads make them. He's got
For a complete top and bottom?
no, just for the jerseys.
Just for the jerseys.
yeah.
Just for
Okay.
the jerseys. We don't order the pants with the.
Yeah.
It's not like basketball or volleyball. You don't order.
So,
How many do you need?
well, you have to have two sets of
100?
No, you have to have two sets of away and home game, and you'll need at a minimum of 50. Well, you could start off with probably 40 per varsity and junior high as a minimum. That'd give you enough. Coverage, I guess. So you're talking about close to $18,000 is what you're looking at for total
to
thing.
completely replace it.
And so the plan that I had was to have one team and just do either home or away, and then absorb that for one season, and then the next year do the opposite for that team, and that way you have a complete set, which takes 2 years to have a complete set, and then do that for the opposite team, or the junior high varsity. And that way you're not shelling out that much money all the
And
way
at this point, it doesn't matter which one you're doing because their squads are about the same number of kids right now.
Absolutely. So that way you spread it out over, a series of whatever number of years. And then if you need replacements, they're local. You don't have to deal with those squirrely dude in California and
In California?
have to
he's
deal
in
with his
California.
knuckleheadedness.
Oh, let's
And,
go local.
We might want to
Yeah.
consider 626 though because they did a wonderful job on those basketball uniforms.
That's 323.
323, yeah, they're the sister company.
Yeah.
626. Is it 323? I could
It
have
is
sworn
323,
626.
yeah. Because I bought the boys and girls uniforms that one year.
Okay.
They did
So,
really
in
good on
other words,
basketball, but then they didn't do that great on
I'm
volleyball.
fine keeping it local,
Will you show
we
me
just
for a
need-
lot of other
we
stuff
just
in the
need to-
organization?
we do. We use monkey printing too out of Raymore, but the bottom line is we need to do what's best budgetary wise, I would say, as long as it's quality. But I have no problems going to Show Me. I've dealt with them for years and I like them. They do good work. And that sounds like right now a positive alternative. But I was thinking along the same lines as Tim. I wasn't necessarily thinking about home and away, but that's a better idea. I like that. One team first, then the other team.
So do we have a spreadsheet with numbers, numerical jersey numbers and sizes?
We
I-
do.
You have that?
Well, yeah, I sent it to both of you on, in fact, the same date, February 28th. I sent you, if y'all would check your message, please go on the admin chat, February 28th. I sent you the personnel roster with everybody's stuff on there, and I sent you the jersey roster with all the jerseys and everything that's on there. 2 Excel spreadsheets. I sent both
I
of you on
saw
there.
it.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't say
And
I
it's
didn't.
and it's on there. Please
Okay.
download that.
Do you have it?
It's on the chat, yeah,
Yeah,
It's not on band.
in band.
on band.
Okay.
Please, my man.
So can
Good gravy.
Can one of you download it and
Yeah.
share it with me?
Yep.
Is that you? Is that you, Cleve?
I'll do it tonight.
Okay.
I've got a list of things to take care of, so.
Okay. Well, we're not going to tackle uniforms, mate, but I like your idea. 2 years you can have varsity done, then maybe 2 years you have junior high done. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Over 4 years you can replenish all the uniforms
Absolutely.
in football.
Absolutely.
And that's,
So that brings us back to the current uniforms we have. If we can mend them, we need to do that.
Yeah.
If we can mend them. If there's the
Well,
ones that we would normally replace.
Well, that's what we've been doing for the past 3 years. is
Well, I know we've
I've been
mended a
mending.
bunch, but I also know that there's some weren't able
Yeah,
to.
anything that has small rips and tears that can be sewed,
Right.
get them sewed. And the best person to get that done for you is Bunny, if you know who Bunny is, and that is the Cerny mom.
Okay.
She will be the one to do that, and there's other people that I've used too, but and y'all can find somebody who's a sewer. I don't care who you use, but find somebody who's willing to help you out. And maybe she'll let you call her Bunny. I don't know, but if you don't, then
Never have before.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll start.
I thought that's what her name was.
Is it?
I thought it was Bunny.
okay. And that's gotta be before the 3rd week of June also?
preferably. But I
Okay.
mean, yeah, we like to try to hand everything out all at one whack, so it's
Right.
done, because it's not fun having to hand everything out bits and pieces. It's really not fun at all. So we like to try to hand everything out as soon as possible.
Alright, so here's the deal. 3rd week of June is a big week, and it's coming up fast. It's faster than, I mean, for me, it'll be just like that. It'll be 3rd week of June, so we got a lot to do before that. Let's get a time in the Conex box so we can start doing equipment inventory. It should match up with your list pretty good, right? Your Excel spreadsheet?
It should, but like I said, there's been a lot of stuff that's been replaced and things of that nature. So
Is that list a year old then, in
Yeah.
essence?
So the list that you have there, the inventory list is at the end of the roster that's there. You still want to match that up. So match it up, go count your widgets and match it up and make the changes that are on there. And whatever we're short by that you can estimate so far as, and again, this is just equipment wise, knee pads, belts, those things. We're not talking about all the accoutrements, which is, you know, the straps and mouthpieces and all that kind of stuff. Those you just buy in bulk, and we'll let those be as whatever they are.
Mouthpieces are more of a one size fits all, or?
Yeah, you just buy them in a pack of 50 is all you do.
Okay.
And I just generally just buy 2 packs. You know, I just buy 100 because that's all we estimate is there to be, you know, what 70 kids or whatever it is.
Do we still do Red Sox?
Yep. Or scarlet is the true color of them, but they're
Yeah,
red.
one year we got some that was supposed to be scarlet, and they came in almost orange.
They're red.
And what about
Scarlet.
belts? Are we
Belts are all on there.
pretty good on belts, dude?
You have to, but you have to take an
We'll
inventory
have to
again.
check,
Though.
because they cut them and they resize them every year, so we need to
But yeah,
figure out how
really,
many have been cut. and
really,
how
we should
small
be
they are.
still good on everything, but you still want to count because I'm trying to remember what has been deficient, but there really hasn't nothing that's been deficient. Everything has been purchased up and upkept. So there really shouldn't be much you have to buy this year, to be honest with you. There really shouldn't
Well,
be much
except
at all,
for
besides those straps.
10 helmets and 20 sets of shoulder pads.
Yeah, but equipment wise, there really should, or the small stuff, there really shouldn't be much. Girdles, you may have to buy a few more girdles, but that's all I can see.
Girdles come in sizes.
They do,
Yes, they do.
and
I'm sorry to ask all these.
and the thing is that the sizes that they tell you they are not always correct, because I bought a whole bunch of mediums of this one brand, and they were not adult mediums. They were like youth mediums.
Oh wow! So they didn't fit anybody.
They didn't fit nobody who were adults. And so now I'm sitting on 12 adult mediums, and they fit like no kidding. Kids with 16, 18-inch waists. And I tried to get an adult, kid with a 24-inch waist to
Yeah.
put them on. He's like, this don't fit me.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you're right, it don't. Take them off, because they were not true adult mediums.
Okay.
So those, the black ones, the black girdles, those are for the younger kids. And I mean, you can tell, just hold them up and you can see how far they stretch. So just look at a kid and you'll know that they're not going to fit a kid, our size or smaller.
Yeah.
So They were not true to their, that's the way Epic Sports is sometimes. It tells you one
That's
thing.
Epic again?
Yeah.
Is there a local place for girdles or no?
Not for the process Epic Sport has for the bulk, no.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you could get stuff at, Dick's and the other place, whatever.
I'm just, because then you can
But
maybe
it's-
take them
it's
back.
more- it's more
Returning this up to Epic is a nightmare.
Well, the thing is, you can still use them, but
Yeah.
because the
Maybe
small
for
kid,
junior high.
yeah,
maybe.
the junior high kids will use them eventually because
Okay.
the ones that they were using will wear out, and then they'll get these new ones.
Okay.
So it's not a total
Well,
waste.
it's not wasted. Okay.
But,
All right.
but I'm just saying that the purpose and intent of what they were ordered for the varsity kids.
Yeah.
No, we had to order, other sizes that fit them. Now these will be held back. So when the sizes that the junior high kids were wearing, they'll be worn out through attrition, and they'll get these newer ones.
Okay.
So it's not a waste of dollar. You just, it's just
Well, that's good.
extra
I
that we have.
misunderstood that.
Yeah. Nothing's ever a waste. It'll be
Okay.
used eventually,
Okay.
but just not during this season. Next season or a couple seasons down the road, it'll be used.
Okay.
So nothing is never a waste.
All right.
Like the helmets we got in those boxes, they'll be used when we get the kids with the right size heads that fit in them. And but yeah, nothing's ever a waste. It'll be used eventually.
Hopefully that happens within 10 years then.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So everything else, we'll get to those when those issues come up, because that's all I can see. That there's nothing else that I see on here that's pressing at the moment. Everything else has already been done. All the calendar stuff's already been populated, and all the coaches are already working on their training. The budget, I don't know, we haven't reconciled our stuff yet, but I'm sure that'll be done whenever the budget is done.
How soon on the budget? You were
Well-
thinking end of the month maybe?
Well,
I mean,
I don't know what else has to be done with it, because I put in the parent pride numbers that I have. I don't know what else is waiting. I don't have any context to.
What's the reconciliation that needs to happen? That sounds like that's step one.
well, we need to look at what we spent last year and put it into the sheet to see. Okay, we had 5,000 set aside for this, we spent 6, or we spent 2, or whatever,
Okay.
so.
Who has those numbers?
Well, I've got a portion of the numbers. He's got a portion of the
We
numbers.
have the ledger.
She has a portion of the numbers.
I put them in the,
So you've already put your portion of everything in there. All the concession stuff, everything that Parent Pride has spent, everything is in there, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So everything that he spent for helmets,
So
and
I'll
shoulder
have
pads and
to
stuff,
Go through the ledger.
that'd
and
have to
get
be
that
in
stuff
there,
put in.
and everything equipment-wise that I have in there, I'll put that stuff in there.
Okay.
And
so
then we
I put it
reconcile.
in the admin chat that when I did it.
Yeah.
And then I asked a question because there was a couple of things I wasn't sure. I didn't want to delete something and change it because like for home games you have like, or I don't know who, somebody times 3 or whatever, but we don't have a set like that. It's just, this is the amount that came in. So I put it over in the column that doesn't actually go into anything, but just so you can see what that is. So however it needs to be, put in there properly.
Yeah,
But
because
it's identified.
yeah,
It's
what it is.
identified.
yeah,
Yes,
because
absolutely.
we had 4 home games instead of 3 home games, correct?
We had,
Okay, so when it was originally made, we estimated only 3 home games because the 4th wasn't.
Oh, I see.
So that's the reason that
Right.
it was times 3, because we quite didn't know if that 4th home game was going to work out or not.
Right.
So when it was conceived, we were hoping on that 4th home game to happen, but it quite didn't happen yet.
Okay.
So now that it has, that's additional funds that we can put into the pot from the monies earned from that. So that's where you now make your adjustment in that, which if you did, and I'll go in there and check it and see
Yeah.
if the adjustment's been made. But yeah, everything should be adjusted to where now any additional things will have that to balance off the ledger. And that'll be our true numbers going into now the new budget. This should be our new total now if we balance everything correctly. And
one thing I did not see
That'd be
was
fun.
the ongoing left of parent pride that's been kind of accumulating. So I didn't see a line for that to just identify that. So I don't know if that's in a different place but those are only 2 things that I had a question about.
no, I have to look at it and see, because yeah, I don't know what y'all's numbers are on that neither. I have no idea. I'm not involved with none of those figures.
Well, I gave it to you guys last year, so I put it out there for everybody.
I know
But
what you're
can-
talking about. I remember seeing it. So let me dig that up and I'll look at it and see.
Okay.
I know exactly what you're talking about, 'cause I remember seeing it. I do. I remember seeing your Excel spreadsheet on that.
At the end of the season.
Yeah,
So,
last year. I remember what you're talking about.
Okay, I know there was an outstanding payment possibly for a field.
Shouldn't be.
Is that taken care of now?
I sent it to
Greg?
Greg a couple weeks ago.
Okay,
Do you know why?
I will follow up with him tomorrow.
okay.
Do you know why it took so long to get that invoice, or did they think that they had already given it to us, or do you know why that took so long?
No.
Do you want to say anything?
I had asked her a couple of times. I did get it about 3 weeks ago or so, something like that. And, but I didn't, but I did have to ask for it a couple of times to get it.
And that contract is it like if we get rained out and we can't reschedule, is that still we pay for the field, or we only pay for the times that we use it for the season? Do you remember?
My understanding is we only use it for the times that we use it, but I will verify that with him.
If it's in the contract, then we could probably just, but we do have to wait for I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out how we can pay it quickly if we already know what the total is.
We'll dig
I
into
don't
that later.
I don't recall if we had a contract.
We had,
If we did, it's the first time we've ever done a contract for the field.
well, we had something because I saw the, what they were gonna provide, like they were gonna provide tables and blah, 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 blah. So I thought it was the contract. I can look it back because I have.
But it didn't have dates in it.
No, it did not have the dates to the games.
So,
Maybe it's just the use.
yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Right.
So to do the budget, is that something that we need to sit together and kind of talk through and plan for what's coming up?
Yeah,
or-
same as we did last year. The same thing. That's what helped us out of knowing what everything had to be in there for. I mean, I think it helped out of us all knowing where the money had to be at and what the overall numbers had to be. That way, everybody had a piece and a say in what they needed and how much that they were going to need for the numbers. So yeah, it's very beneficial for that to happen. So whether we want to meet or Zoom or do whatever, we can figure that out once everything is reconciled and go through that process. But yeah, it needs to happen.
Okay. Let's see if we can have the reconciliation done by the end of the month. Is that too?
No, it's not too aggressive. I was thinking about the other.
When do you want to open registration for football?
Well, my thinking was June 1st.
I don't know. When do you guys want it to be open?
Well, isn't it typically supposed to be open June 1st,
It's always supposed to be open June 1st. That's the early bird, right?
right?
Okay. That means the budget has to go up when?
I don't know the process.
Okay, the process is that the budget needs to go up by at least the 1st of June. So that way, hopefully, James and everybody has time to look at it and gets approved at least by the middle of the month.
They won't approve it. That's all on me.
Okay, that's all on you now?
Yep.
Good. Okay, so if it gets approved by the middle of the month, if it gives you 2 weeks to look at it, that should now give the registrar now 2 weeks to at least get it to her and get her to get into the system to have the early bird to start on the
May, you're
1st.
saying May.
No, June.
Okay,
No.
so the budget has to be.
Yeah, the approval has to happen mid-May. Or it has to happen sooner than mid-May. The approval for the budget.
Yeah,
Catherine can set up the registration in one night.
okay, fine.
That's not a elongated process.
What's your schedule for the budget that has to come to you? What's your schedule?
You guys send me a budget within 48 hours, 2 days, I'll have it approved.
Okay, so you're saying it doesn't, you don't have a schedule for when it has to come to you then?
You send it tonight, I'll review
Okay.
it in the next 2
So
days.
what we're saying is that we want the budget, football world, we usually like to have the budget sent up by at least the 1st of June. That way, because the way the process was before was that it gave time for the board to review it. Therefore, it gave them the month of June to review and for it to go to the registrar to get everything opened up and for the early bird to kick off on the 1st of June.
And The board is slow.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's why we gave everything a month.
Yeah.
So now, if you're saying the process is a lot faster now, then fine. Sometime in the month of June, we can be able to get that budget to you. As long as the early bird kicks off on the 1st of June, that's really
So I'm redoing my process because I don't approve opening registration
Yeah.
until I approve a budget.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the way Mike was too.
Yeah, that's what everybody was.
So
Okay,
you
okay.
approve it,
So that's
and
what we're
then
trying to
it's
say
open.
is that as long as everything was approved, it went to the registrar and everything was fine. All I cared about was the early bird happening the 1st of July.
Tim,
Period.
do you have time? Devon, do you have time over the next 2 weeks to try to get this done?
What's that? The budget?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the budget and the reconciliation thing ain't gonna take but just a day or so on my end because I still have to claim a good portion of my concession stuff because I haven't even claimed none of that stuff yet. All the stuff for the pretzels and for the solder and stuff, I haven't claimed none of that stuff yet out of the parent prod accounts, and I still got those to claim. I still got a couple of I got those new water bottles that I purchased on Black Friday when those were like 60% off because I got brand new sports bottles because the ones that we have were constantly leaking everywhere. So I got brand new, like whatever from Gatorade.
The green and orange Gatorade bottles?
For next year?
So-
No, we're talking about the sports bottles that
Well, we didn't.
Simon sports
You
bottles.
didn't use them this year. You saved them for next year. Is that what you're saying?
No, I got them on. I got them on the Black Friday sale.
Okay.
So the season was already over by the time I got them. So I got them on Black Friday sale when they were like 60% off because they're normally like $20 a piece, but I got them for like maybe $8 a piece. You know, the sport. So they came in a case of 20. So I got 20 bottles for $8 a piece off the Black Friday sale. And I got a thing of Gatorade in a three gallon pouch, 20 something pouches for like $100 or something like that. So it's like 2 seasons worth of Gatorade for like $100, and each pouch does 3 gallons a piece. So I'm like, yeah, and so it was like I got those bottles for like real cheap, and then I got a couple more 5-gallon bottles on the wheels, or the 5-gallon coolers on the wheels, since the ones that we had were just totally broken down. I cannibalized as many as I could cannibalize to make the ones that we had work, because that big orange bottle that I had, that was a 10-gallon one, the girls couldn't carry those anywhere, so I went ahead and got two more of the 5-gallon wheelie ones so they could wheel those easier from Academy, because those are on sale. So yeah, I still got a few things that I bought postseason that was on sale.
Do those things come from, are there's like a budget line for all those miscellaneous stuff?
Yeah.
Or is that just
Absolutely, that's all part of the equipment.
whatever? Okay.
Yeah, that's all part of the equipment stuff. So whenever there's an equipment overage that I know that there's money for, yeah, if I'm saving 60% on stuff, yeah, I want to save money on getting that and the stuff that we need. I mean, it's stuff that we want to need, and but yeah, all that stuff with the sports. I mean, we've been needing those sports bottles for the past 2 or 3 seasons, because them things leak all the time, and I've been hearing too many gripes and stuff about everybody about how them things leak. So those were a definite purchase that had to be made, and the sale that those happened on was just a diamond. It was just a blue moon when I found those on sale.
So early bird is June 1st. Sorry to switch back.
No problem, go for
What's
it.
regular? What's the regular registration
1st
date?
of August.
August 1st. So we won't do sports fees until we go through the budget and what we're charging for
Right.
the sports fee.
We'll have to look at the budget, see where we're at, and see if there needs to be an increase or if we can modify or whatever.
Okay.
I was thinking about that on this first date. Is that too late?
Oh, is it too late?
Well-
That's been the standard.
I know it has been. I'm just asking. Is it too late? Is there any reason to adjust that?
Oh don't know. Tell me,
We
tell me,
can't-
tell
well,
me your concerns.
I don't want to hand out any equipment until they've registered. So, because it's a liability exposure to the organization. They haven't signed the agreement, they haven't signed the waivers.
Well, they sound their paper liability when they start conditioning though. So that covers them until they register online
I don't
for
know.
whatever.
We
What's
need to
the
consider
paper
that.
liability? This is the first I've heard of this.
No, we have a paper liability that the organization sent out a spell ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
That
I
you-
think we're probably the only ones that use it.
well, I can't speak for other sports, but
No other sport uses a paper liability.
I do the right thing and make them sign a liability waiver before they participate in what they do with us. And it's what the organization made and sent out to us to use. So
My only
if
concern
no other
with
sports
that,
is doing it, shame on them. They should.
well,
so-
they don't hand out
We
equipment until
make them register, that's the liability.
Oh, is it? Well,
because
you guys don't have any other practices and stuff that goes on before
We
actual
give them
registration
two
stuff?
practices, and if they exceed two practices, they're out.
Really?
Yep. They gotta get registered,
Oh.
because otherwise it's a liability on their organization.
So my only concern is that if we continue to do a paper process, does that potentially expose us, or do we really want them to have the digital one signed on TeamSnap?
I mean, the paper process, who owns that, once they sign it? You?
Yeah, we keep them. Yeah, we keep them, and I can scan them and send them to the registrar if the registrar wants to put them in her little Google doc file or whatever they want to do with them. But I maintain them until the real registration happens.
So in your mind, I'm just asking, you're comfortable with that process?
Well, I'm comfortable with whatever process that needs to happen, but that's been the process for several years.
The
But
only issue.
what is the legality of how the
Well, that's-
organization wants to go with?
Right, that's the real issue, and that's what I don't have the
Yeah.
answer to.
I mean,
What
I
does
say
the
we're covered
organizational
right now.
AD want to do?
What?
I said, what does the organizational AD want to do?
I mean, if they're signed and you have it,
Yeah,
then we're covered.
yeah.
Okay.
We might need to review with a wording in that if that's old, because we may need to update it.
Well, I'll send you a copy of it.
Yeah.
And you can look at it and see.
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
not saying I'm looking to change the process, but this is the first time. I mean, there's no other sport that does that.
Well,
The
I don't know.
only
I-
concern, and we
I
haven't
just-
really
I
had a
just follow
problem.
the rules that y'all deemed down several years ago.
Okay,
so-
no, you're saying y'all to me.
Well,
but
the
I didn't,
Organization.
Yeah.
Because you're an organization, man.
well, I know,
Yeah. So
Anyway,
it is
I'm
y'all.
enrolled in.
Yeah.
so the only concern I have, and we haven't had this problem, but with the economy the way it is and people the way they are, I could see it possibly being a problem, and that is getting kids to pay, and then if they haven't paid anything, and then they leave the program, and we have to go chasing down equipment. That's an issue. Did we decide to allow? I don't think it'll work in football, so I'm not suggesting this. But did we decide in some sports like basketball to allow them to have a 5-payment plan?
I think 5 payments is an option in TeamSnap now. I thought it is.
Well, I know it's an option in TeamSnap, but I think Catherine has to set it up if that's what you want.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that in football. It's too short of a season.
3 is
I don't want them with 2 payments left after the season's over.
three is a standard option.
That's what we traditionally stood with. But I could see if somebody wants to sign up in June saying, hey, can I have a 5-payment option? I could see somebody barking about that. So that's why maybe
I've
we
always worked with
continue.
families. If someone wants to pay in 5 payments, we'll set them up on like a reduced 3-payment plan. Catherine has the ability to go in and
Sure.
make some changes, and
Absolutely.
then you guys may have to collect money, the rest of the money directly from the parent or the family.
If that's the case, why don't you just up the registration and just have them to register in
Well-
June when the conditioning starts, and just refab the whole thing, and that way,
Do 5 payments then?
yeah. I mean, y'all have the power to restructure however it's going to be
We
feasible
want your
for you
opinion.
guys.
I want your
It
opinion.
doesn't matter to me. I'm just the head coach. You guys do it however you want to do it. That's going to be feasible for you. But the process is what we've done before. If you want to change the process, discuss it, and let's change the process.
Well,
If
that's
you-
why I brought it up, so we could discuss it.
Well, figure it out. If that's what you want to do, then change the process, get the budget in 1st of May, get that approved if it's a quick process, have it to, well, or actually before that, because now you want your early bird to possibly maybe happen in May, and that way have the final true registration to really be the 1st of June when conditioning starts, and then that's where you have to be to where you give them that month of May to get the pre-registration done, and the equipment don't necessarily have to be handed out until the end of June or July as we
Right.
normally go into it, because by state law we can't make full contact anyways until the end of July, beginning of August. So we got to stick with state law and not have contact. When the registration happens, it doesn't matter. You can change that altogether, but the way that we had it fashioned out with the scheduling was to happen to when the registration kicks off as per the state law of when we can be able to have all the equipment and have full contact.
Right.
That's where
So
the
here's the
August
thought.
1st date.
Absolutely. And
Here's
so therefore we're trying to, abide by NFHS rules and the state laws that governs us, and but y'all can change how
well,
you
here's the
want to
thought
change
I
it.
had. Tell me if this is stupid, and I'm not even proposing that. It's just a thought. We start off with early bird, 5 payment plan, 1, 3, or 5, because I think she can set it up that way. Or maybe she can just do 1 and 5. We'll just do 1 and 5. Then come August, when it switches, we remove the 5 payment option and go back to a 3 payment option. Because if they pay in August, September, October, that's the end of the season.
Okay, I just want to establish, the only reason why I've ever worked with families on money is because I try to not make money the issue.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
hurdle.
Yeah.
If that because I'd rather have people in, people in, because sometimes the kids need to be in the sport, and they need
Right.
to be, so that's the only thing I'm saying. I'm just trying not to make money that hurdle,
Mhm.
because
I have a question. So I know that we've had, I don't know, really, you'd have a much better idea of this. We have boys who come for conditioning to try it out.
Mm-hmm.
And what percentage do you think have needed that time to figure out, yeah, I do want this, or is it a benefit to still give them that time to figure out if this is something they want to be a part of? Because I know some people bring friends and they do conditioning,
Yeah.
and then that friend goes and does another sport,
Mm-hmm.
but they're able to do that, and it gives them, it
And
gives
so
a
are you-
connection
So are you saying
without
that
being
like
registered. is
2
what I'm saying.
practices wouldn't be enough time for them to decide whether or not they
Right,
want to do
like if
football?
they're gonna come and do all summer conditioning and they filled out the form, and maybe and you would know some of those, like, not very many I know.
Yeah.
That said, I'm only coming for conditioning.
Oh, there was about 8 or 9 that didn't stick around. If that's what you're asking.
Yes,
Yeah. So there's about maybe 8 or 9 who were interested in playing, but they didn't come back. And
And that doesn't have anything to do with registration. That's
Right.
just a waiver issue.
no,
Goes
that's
back to
just
that.
them knowing the rigors of what it takes to play
No, I mean,
football.
Yeah, but I mean, from what she's discussing, I think what you're getting to is we don't want to force them to register and then have to.
right, and then
decide
they're
not
like,
to
I
play.
can't do that, and then they bail out, and then I think that's probably
So
gonna
that's
be a
a
nightmare
reason
for
why we
registration.
continue the paper
But,
waiver.
but also, I see 2 different sides of it, but I don't know.
Like I said, y'all figure that out. What you want to do?
Well, I'm asking your opinion because you've been and you're still going to be involved. You have a,
Well, I'm just saying. I work off the KISS principle, and for me, the KISS principle is having to sign the waiver, come the conditioning, and the ones who want to play football stick around. The ones who don't, they stick around or don't stick around, and that way, nobody's filling out registrations and nobody's involved with doing this or doing that. And the early bird happens in July. The ones who
June.
play, no, still in July.
it's on June 1st.
No, it's
I wrote the date wrong, man.
it's
No,
July
it was-
1st.
No, we were
June 1st,
we were talking about June 1st.
the early bird.
Yeah, I
to
wrote
start
it down
the-
just like you said, early bird opens June 1st.
Whether it's June or July, it still ends in
Did
August.
you mean July 1st?
July 1st. I'm
Okay.
sorry, July 1st. So
But we-
traditionally,
Okay, that's why
July
you're
1st.
saying the
right.
budget is due
Traditionally,
June
correct.
Yeah.
1st, and then July 1st
Well-
opens up the registration.
That's why I was
We've-
asking if
we've
we had to
had
have the budget ready by
registration-
mid-May.
No.
We've had registration open June 1st the last few years.
What's that?
By the first week in June, registration's been open.
No, it hasn't. Last year the budget was up there by the beginning of June. The year before that it was up there. I mean, I can pull up my emails and And
Well, okay, can we do this? Can we do that?
I think we want June, but anyway, go ahead.
Can we do a June 1st early bird, but also continue with the thing that everybody knows for the summer? And if they already know they're going to play, they can register and get that going, get those payments going. If they're coming in and they don't know, here, you can fill this out. Or is that just a
y'all
headache?
do whatever you want to do. Y'all, listen. I'm just a simpleton. I keep it simple. And if you want to,
Do you feel like it'd be beneficial if we offered a 5-payment plan if you signed up in June and July?
I don't know.
Probably for those families who have multiple boys and they know that they're coming back.
Yeah.
I would maybe say if you're a returning family, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to make it so difficult that nobody knows what actually they can do either.
I mean, it depends on the situation. Like in basketball, we had some very low income families.
Yeah.
Just being honest with you guys.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of low income families. We have a lot of them. My wife has paid registrations.
I paid registration. So
Well, the thing is, Coach Tim doesn't pay registrations. My wife does because of ethics.
oh, well, I don't tell anybody. I'm telling you guys because
Well,
you're all.
What I'm saying is that, well, I pay registration, but I pay it under my wife's name. But what I'm saying is that through ethics, I don't like saying that Coach Tim has paid for somebody's registration because then it's not ethically moral to do that. Because then I should pay for everybody's registration. But my wife can
I know
pay
what
for
you're saying.
whoever's. So
I do is
paper-wise, I'll pay for registration. But the thing is, though, same as you, I want everybody to play without it being an issue of money.
Yeah.
So
that's the bottom line.
that's the bottom line, period. But the thing is that however you want to stretch it out for the benefit of the multiple families, that's a kudos. Do it for that intended purpose. But however you want to work out with, here's the thing. Conditioning is going to happen the beginning of June.
Yeah.
How a kid wants to come and join and stick around or not stick around, I don't care. That's between them and their parents and what they can do and what they want to do. That's not Coach Tim's concern as a coach. That's the player's concern on if they want to play football. If you want to open the registration up to start in June, go for it and try it. See how it works out. If you want to do the payment plan to spread out, do it. Try it. Give it a shot. Asking for my opinion on how all this is going to work and pan out, I don't know. We've never done it before. Give it a shot. Try it out. My opinion doesn't amount to a hill of beans and something that we have never done before. It only amounts.
Not true, Tim.
Well, it does.
It's not true.
But I'm just saying that. Try it. The only way you're going to know is to try it. Because I just don't know. If
I mean,
it's-
trick
if
I
it's-
don't,
by-
I don't
if
like
it's
to try stuff unless I understand pros and cons.
Well, that's
And
just
until
it,
you have
right.
the data,
You know-
you can't make an informed decision.
Well, that's just it. Pros and cons I can't give because we've never done it before.
Okay, well then that's
And so this is unknown territory
That's a
for all
con
of us. Yeah, that's a con.
Yeah.
What pros can we get from it? I don't know. Let's try it and figure it out. That's all I can tell you. But
so the one thing I'm putting pieces together in my head. You start your summer training in June,
yeah,
and we don't even open registration until July.
yeah,
Do these kids get a month of free training, no commitment?
yeah, because it's conditioning. We have to. Okay, so let me ask you this: basketball. How physical is basketball in your mind? Do you think? What conditioning prepares somebody to be a basketball player?
Running.
Okay, so how much running does somebody need to prepare for?
Well, it's different than it's not like a marathon. You don't set a pace.
Absolutely,
It's like a sprint and acceleration and deceleration.
absolutely. Okay, now let's think about football for a minute. Okay, think about, I don't know. I guess you guys follow the Chiefs and stuff like that, right? Since you guys are mostly Chiefs fans and stuff here.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can talk shop to me. I understand.
Well, I'm just trying to say that they have their training camps and they have these camps and how they train and do this and do that. But they also have a time to where they have to condition their bodies.
Yep.
So because we're not a public school and because we don't get to meet at the 6th period or the 7th period and have PE classes
Right.
to where we all get to meet and have weightlifting sessions and condition and do those kind of things because we're homeschooled, we don't get that tangible benefit. So because of that, we have to get them prepared somehow to play football.
Agreed.
Okay. The only way to do that is to have them to meet at least a month to a month and a half in advance before we're supposed to actually start camps in mid-July.
So it's not official practice.
So it's
Okay.
yeah. So
It's
it's
not
not.
required.
So what we're doing is we're meeting together to do exactly that. We're running. We're doing push-ups, sit-ups. We're getting their bodies physically prepared to start getting the pads on and start physical contact.
Yeah, I
Okay.
understand all that. I'm
Okay.
just-
It is
I'm just-
voluntary, it is not required.
Yeah.
Do you have
It's only
expenses
in-
on that?
No.
No.
There's zero expenses besides the
Oh,
renting
okay.
the field.
Okay.
We have to rent the field.
So it is a field rental, that is an
Absolutely.
expense.
So that's
Okay.
so that's the expense there.
You're
Now,
donating your time doing that,
absolutely. And so
which you
Which-
do.
now,
Everybody
now,
does
now,
that.
now before this used to start in April. I used to run this starting in April.
But before
But
that,
in
we
April-
didn't even have it.
Yeah, but before it wasn't even done. And so the reason I started this for was because once we started camps and started playing games, I'm like these
They're dying.
these kids ain't even ready to play football. They're not conditioned to even play football.
Yeah.
And so I was like, there's got to be a form of things, some form of pre, whatever it is, to get them ready. All right, because we don't, like I said, public school kid. We had 6th, 7th period PE, which really was us going to the field house, working out, getting together,
Yeah.
doing stuff. That was our off season. All right, these kids don't have that, so we have to create an off season for them. Summertime off season. That's what this was.
Okay.
I started in April, but I was only meeting Tuesdays and Thursdays. April all the way up to when camp started. Now, I did that for 2 years, and here's what I learned from that. There's no way in the world you're getting your body prepared in 2 days a week, and it was a waste of time. So what happened
So
was
you tried something, figured out it didn't work.
absolutely,
changed.
absolutely, because what happened was that I would have a hodgepodge of only having maybe 7 or 8 kids show up, 2 kids show up. It wasn't consistent enough to where it was working. So I was like, the only way it's going to work is that I have to start it to where it has to be more intense in a shorter period of time, or longer period of time, I should say. So now we're going to start in June, and it's going to be the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
4 days.
4 days a week now.
1
And now
hour.
it's more intense, same thing.
Yep.
So now, last year was the new formula. And well, actually, was it last year was the new formula? Maybe the year before last, I can't remember. But regardless, it worked out a lot better.
Okay.
And the kids were a lot more prepared physically because of it.
Okay.
And so we started doing that instead, and it worked out a lot better because they were able to meet and have more consecutive days of training and have more endurance and stuff like that going on. So by the time the camps happened and by the time they got their pads on, they were ready to rock and roll. Because instead of now getting their pads on, trying to get them fed enough to play football, it was getting their pads on, now we're playing football.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a big transitional phase in there that was happening. And that's what the condition time was for, was the transitional phase to get their body prepared.
So if you have a number of kids that start in June,
Mhm.
that's the new plan from now on, right?
Yeah.
Because that's working.
Yeah.
Do you have a retention rate that you keep through the end of June when you start?
Absolutely. So now during that month time frame, anybody who's interested in wanting to play football, they come out for that conditioning time frame and they get a no nonsense you're training yourself to come play.
Yep.
And so the attrition rate, it's about 10 to 15%. All right. So 10 or 15.
Who you lose.
Absolutely.
They drop out.
Yeah, so we get the ones who are interested, okay, the ones who want to stick around and want to play, they'll stick around and play. The ones who don't, like I said, 10 or 15% is what we lose. And the ones who stick around, they stick around and play. The ones who don't, like I said, we lost 7 or 8 kids last year because they couldn't hack it or didn't have a schedule for it or couldn't do whatever. And so they're gone and they're whatever. Maybe you'll get them to come back next year because they weren't ready for it yet, or whatever the case may be. We've had some kids do that. They come and try it out for 1 year, wasn't ready for it. They come back out next year and they're on the team for the rest of their lives. Mm-hmm. And so it's just whatever the case may be for the family. You just don't know. But that's what happens. They come that June, basically just come try it out for the conditioning, and really we hold their feet to the fire once the camp start in after the 4th of July break. The camp start, the offensive and the defensive camp start then. And then from there, that's really when we start passing out the helmets from there, because now it's all a progression. So we get their body physically ready. Now it's all about trying to get them acclimatized now to the weather. Start with the helmets, get them acclimatized to the helmets. Then from there we go into shells, helmet, shoulder pads for a few days. Yep. So it's all a progression. So that by the time the 1st of June contact's supposed to happen, they're no kidding ready for contact. Acclimatization doesn't start first of August. It started the 1st of June
1st of June.
so by the time 1st of August is ready, they're ready to hit.
You don't want a kid to come out there first day of pads and he's 95 degrees and he hadn't done anything.
So-
Yeah.
It'd be death.
Well, it doesn't even work out that way, because early bird starts in July. You might not even have some kids that sign up until August.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Well, here's the
And
thing.
that always happens.
We,
Yeah,
we
it
need,
feels like
we
we
mid-August.
really, part of the reason the early bird is in there, in my mind, is to get people to sign up early, because we need them in camp. If they sign up anytime after August 1st, I think you would agree, they're retarded for at least the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
They're behind.
They're
way
behind.
Okay.
That's the purpose of the camps, is to get them
Yep.
in the fundamentals.
So that's why we do the early bird, is to try to get people to go ahead and sign up and get in and commit early, so we can get them up to speed before the season starts.
I don't think you're losing anything by having it June 1st, and especially those families who know they need it, and that could, right?
I think if we do my initial thought, and if you guys think about it and you say, this is stupid, Clee, don't do that, that's fine. I wanted to hear roadblocks. If there's a roadblock, if there's something that says this is stupid, don't do it. But I think in June and July, if we offer a 5-payment plan, and then as of August 1st, it goes down to 3 or 1 or 3, I think that's a good solution for most of these families, because it can be burdensome.
I think budgetary wise, it'd be a good solution. The only thing that I would tell you that personnel wise, it ain't going to fix nothing. The reason for it is because June and July is the 2 months where everybody's going for their little camps.
Yep.
So I will have one half of kids there, and then the next couple of weeks they'll be going, and the other half of kids will show up because they're all going for their church camps and scout camps and this camps and that camps and
Summer
whatever camps.
and stuff.
Yeah, so it's never consistent. I never have all kids there at one time for whatever the period of whatever we're trying to do there for.
Yeah, and
They're always missing
that's
either
one of our
one camp
difficulties.
or another, or they're missing half a condition, or they're missing this or that.
Yep.
And that's just the nature of homeschool Christian kids, and it's going to happen. And I have no problems with that whatsoever. God first, God, school, family, and football is how I got it nailed down. And so
if you guys, I don't need to sit here as the AD and make the decision on the 5 or 3 or whatever payment plan. All I did is I was interjecting. I try not to make money the hurdle for a family.
no,
Right.
That's all I'm saying. And from the scholarship thing, just so you guys know, if I make a donation to Greg and I just say it's going to apply toward basketball, then the athletic director simply tells the family, we scholarshiped you. They have no idea where the money come from. We've had some donors that have donated some money. That might have gone to some scholarship money. So I appreciate you guys doing that. I think that's wonderful. I think that's in the spirit of the organization. Get the kids in the program, type of thing. I love hearing that. So thank you for that.
Well, I would support trying the starting 5 in June, and in August the 3 or 1 if you want to make
And if
a one payment.
If it
And we'll find out.
implodes after
Right.
one season,
Right,
pull
we
it
tried
out of
it,
there and go
and
back
now we
to
know.
something different.
Yeah,
The-
but I also support having just the for those who aren't ready to be registered, the paper that we've been doing. If you look at the paper, if the wording doesn't need, if the wording needs to be changed, then get it changed so that we can still
I'm not
have.
saying it does.
Right,
It needs to be in
but
line
when you
with
look
what
at it,
Team
if we
Snap
need it.
waiver says. It needs to be in line with it. It doesn't have to be verbatim.
I think that'd be a good idea, so
But
we're
it needs to be
unified
in
as an
line with that,
organization.
right.
But if you got all the paper copies, and I trust you that you have all that,
Mhm.
I think we're good with that. Not looking to change it, looking to understand the process,
Yeah.
because that's different than what everybody else is doing.
Yep.
Okay.
I do think,
I'll send you a copy of it
I do
tonight.
think from now on, it's a good idea if we digitize those rather than just keep paper copies,
I mean,
just by scanning them in.
already do that. Already digitize them and have them in a folder.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I receive
Well,
them, I already use my camera scanner.
I'm thinking of something more organizational, eventually, not right now, but eventually and that would be a part of workspaces.
where my mind goes to them, if something happened to you,
Yeah.
then do we have access to them?
Yeah.
That would be the only thing. I don't know that we don't have like an organizational central folder, but
No, that's, if we can get workspaces going, that'll eventually be what that is. That'll have that app, that'll have that functionality.
Yeah.
Because there'll be Google Drive out there for everybody. Each sport will have their own Google Drive.
Okay. All right.
Which we could set that up now for each sport if we wanted to, but that's not the point.
I don't know that we need to do that right now, but if he's got a copy of them and they're scanned in, just to know that we're covered, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, you know, if it's up in the cloud, you have a fire, your house burns down, whatever, you know.
I'll just stick them in band.
You just
I'll just stick them in band in the attachments folder. I'll create a folder and stick them in there, and that way
That's
everybody
actually
has copies of them.
Is there any way to secure those? Or I guess it doesn't matter on that. There's no secure side to band, right?
Mm-mm. I mean, there's no reason
For
for those to be
files.
secured for anyway.
Not for those, but it just brought up a thought I've been having for a long time. There is some sensitive information I'd like to have in central location, but band will not allow us to do that because there's no password to
Okay.
stop you from getting into it. So
Okay.
anyway,
All right. Any other questions?
No, we probably need to let people know that May 1st-ish, so they can be planning, hey, it's gonna open June 1st, there's gonna be 5 payment option. People are,
And that's only for early bird.
for early bird, yep, and then in August, it will be the traditional.
I mean,
One
if
or
we can
three.
do 1, 3, and 5,
If
I'll
that's
leave
helpful
that
to
out there.
you,
But if we can
this
only
is
do 1 or
what's
the other, I'll
available.
do 1 and 5. Yes,
Okay. And then,
I think that'll help people budget better.
again, I don't want to lose that practice field dates and the COI. You said you're going to work on that maybe tonight,
I'll
possibly.
work on it tonight.
Um,
I won't know until tomorrow.
and then we got to schedule an equipment meeting.
So
Would you like to be part of equipment meeting, sir?
What meeting needs
We
to be
need
discussed?
to inventory everything and decide what we need to order, or maybe 1.5 straps, inch straps, or we just
I mean,
for
like,
sure
like
doing
I said,
that.
I'll walk you through everything. It's not,
Girdles.
it's not a big process. Just,
Okay.
just
Well,
go.
it's a first for me, so
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
it
just-
sounds like a lot. You guys have more equipment than any other sport out
Yeah.
there, so. And I knew that, but now that we're listing it out, it seems like a lot to me.
Yeah.
It's every day to you guys, but
It's a lot of stuff out there. It's a lot of widgets.
yeah.
It would be kind of nice if when we were doing that, if it would work out in a perfect world of those other organizations that, leaders that need to come and maybe look through their things could come at the same time, get their stuff out.
Yeah,
that
we talked
doesn't
about
need to be
that.
there.
Yeah, we gotta get, track and field stuff out of there. Well, I guess I need to understand what the trophies are, if somebody wants some trophies to,
Yeah, we
depends
can
on
do
what the
those.
dates are, I guess, but, you know, if they're 10 years old or something, but we'll figure it out.
They're mostly track and soccer trophies, aren't they?
They're tracking whatever. I don't know. We've been giving some of them out to for different stuff.
Okay. All right.
So we've been utilizing some of the
It
trophies.
would be nice that you guys had the full Connex for football. So let's try to work towards that goal too.
Well, when Mike wanted everybody to be able to use it, we had 35 kids in the program. Now we've got 70. So it's not feasible for others to.
Tim said that
take
you'd
up
use the
space.
space if it was available, so
Absolutely.
let's figure out how to make it available for football. Is the one Connex enough? Do we need to look at eventually getting another Connex, or?
It's a lot of money, isn't it? It was a
They're not
donation.
cheap.
Oh, this one was free.
Yeah, it's a donation.
It's cost us $4,000 since then, but
You can just put on the wish list. For
Yeah.
now.
I mean,
It could be something that.
could we use the
was worth a
second one?
discussion in the
Absolutely.
future. Okay,
We could use the second one, yes.
okay,
The only thing that's going to negate that is if we actually have our own compound and we don't have to store our sleds and stuff in there that needs to be secured. That's the only purpose, is that takes up all one half of
yeah,
the
those
complex.
take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
Okay, any other big things that we're missing for right now?
I have one question for you. Do you need any more of those big tractor tires? We only have one left.
Where we going to put it?
Well, I just set it outside, the Connex.
No, it's because same as the other one that we had out
Weather
there.
too bad.
Yeah, well, no, because the park, I think the park's been adamant enough about having random tires sitting out there in the park So we're not leaving
Yeah. I
no
mean,
more tires out there.
we could cover it up, but that's point well taken.
So
Anyway, I
You
can
use tires
get
for
them.
training?
What's that?
Yeah.
You use tires for training? Okay.
That's our strength training.
Flipping tires?
Yeah. But people also dump tires out there and the park are not happy about.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's considered
yeah,
trash.
and so we had more tires to begin with, and they've walked away.
Okay,
So the one good one that we have is inside the Connex,
okay.
and there's no other room for another one that would be feasible enough to keep it in there. So
All right.
I wouldn't mind that, but there's no more room in the end.
Yeah. About the only thing we do is if we had a little outbuilding attached to the shed, but it's not
That's
worth
something
it.
else to
It's not
secure
worth
for somebody else to break into.
So, quickly, look at the pictures if you don't mind that I sent you.
Oh.
So there are 3 locks on the shed now. The red one,
Did you text it?
Yeah.
You went to email it to me.
all right, I can do that. The red one has a secured padlock inside of a metal box. The black box, the second picture is the latest one. The black box completely encompasses another padlock. And then there is a D padlock on the left side, just because when we ordered it, it wouldn't work
Tim.
with that black box.
Can you see it?
I've seen those before, yeah.
So hopefully I talked to several people, and the bottom line is you're never going to be able to keep people out if they really want to get in there, but this system should slow them down better than what we had before, hopefully. So it's about all you can ask. Slow them down. Unless you have a better idea.
Does the red one keep the rods from rotating?
No.
Oh.
But you have to get past the
But you can't swing it open once they're, okay.
right. You wouldn't be able to swing it open without unlocking that.
Okay.
And that's a similar system to what we've always had.
Okay.
I did like the other one better, but Tom said he acted like he had no interest in getting me one. So just ordered that one. Actually, I didn't order that one. Greg ordered that one because he said the one I ordered was out of stock. I wish he'd have called me because I wouldn't have ordered that one. But I do think it's okay.
I'm available this Sunday night or Monday night
For which?
to go out to the uniform,
For
the
inventory?
inventory.
Okay.
Well, throw some dates out on the email.
I'll have to throw it out there.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't.
I can try to make anything work, but
So right now, this weekend, that's AKA weekend. That's the only available time you would have is Sunday evening, Monday evening.
Yes.
Okay, I can tell you from the schedule, Monday evening would work better. Problem with Sunday evening is just daylight.
Well, I mean Sunday afternoon. No, after church.
After 2-ish,
Sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
afternoon could work. But I'll confirm later tonight.
okay.
Anything
Last
else,
chance for
anybody?
questions, comments, feedback, anything? Okay. I guess, with that being said, I'll pray us out real quick and everybody's free to go.
Awesome.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this time that we had together. Father, we pray again for your guidance and your leadership, your wisdom as we navigate through. Father, we pray that we're all working towards the same goal here. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to serve in every way we can. We pray that our actions and words can glorify you in every way possible. We pray all these things, Father, through your most holy name and all through Jesus. Amen.
Be safe, get home, everybody. It's crazy out there right now.